This is another podcast episode from the brothers that bring you movies.
That's
So, we're going to talk about things like making what matters work.
that's what my shirt says.
Why do you have a shirt that says we make what matters work?
I'm wearing a woman's sweat jacket.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's why the letters are so weirdly high, so that it's not on my titty level.
Oh, you didn't have to say that, dude. You could have said anything else.
Fine, they're on nipple level.
What?
Nipple level?
Napoleon?
Yeah, nipple level.
It sounds like a city.
That's the French way to say it.
Napoleon?
Sounds like
New Jersey.
Louisville.
Napoleon, New Jersey, dude.
Nah, that wouldn't be in New Jersey. That'd be in like Kentucky, dude, like Louisville.
Kentucky.
Is Louisville?
Fried chicken.
Is that in Kentucky?
What?
The town of Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville.
Louisville. I have to look this up now.
This is so detrimental to
Louisville.
what's happening on our podcast right now.
Okay, Kentucky. There's at least a Louisville in Kentucky. There's also one in Georgia. Do you know that? You ever been there? Louisville, Georgia? Home of the Louis?
No.
Oh, well. Shout out to Louisville, Georgia.
I can sit here with
And
my
Kentucky.
foot on the pole.
Jesus Christ. You know, this has to go in now.
I'm singing,
We're too far in.
I'm singing everything today, guys.
I am joined by
I
one
am
tired
going
boy.
to talk about movies today.
Yep. But it's also a cause for celebration. Do you know why,
That's
Tyler?
so bad.
Jesus.
What?
Do you know why it's a cause for celebration today?
Why?
Because today is the first day we're actually live.
No one's going to care.
That's true.
By the time we have an audience and they start listening to this, they're going to listen to this and be like, this podcast has been out for 2 years.
They'll remember. They'll be
I just said we're not going to
nostalgic.
have listeners for 2 years. That's very depressing.
Wow. If you're a 1 or 2 year or less listener.
We're going to do a giveaway to the first person that
Who
listens to our
listens.
podcast.
No. Okay.
That's
Here's what
Nate.
you do.
Nate, you get it. Here's $1.
Here's what you do. You keep like a special gift in your like pocket at all times. Maybe it's like a gift card to like, I don't know, Brewster's ice cream, right? For like $10. We
Does
each
Brewster
keep one.
still exist?
Yes. Yeah, there's one in Peachtree City.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could just do Baskin Robbins. It's
actually,
a lot
there's
more.
one in Noonan too, like near your house.
It's a lot more.
Isn't it? It's with the Nathan's hot dogs. It's like half and half.
Does it still exist?
Pretty fucking sure, dude. Hold on.
Also,
let's look up the Brewster's.
Why can't we just do
Brewster's?
Baskin Robbins?
Because I thought of Brewster's first.
But Baskin Robbins is a lot more
A lot more what?
well known, and it's a
Is it?
bigger. Yeah, dude. They're
Shout
a bigger
out
company.
if you know.
I was going to say they're a lot more acceptable.
Wow, I thought Brewster's was spelled very differently.
What is I was about to say they're a lot more acceptable. Like Brewster's has done something to me. The
yeah,
brother,
it's like you can't.
the brother.
Actually, the one in Noonan I think is gone.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah,
The brother
Fair enough.
Brewster's done me wrong.
there is still that one in Peachtree City though.
So
Okay, but you keep a gift card in your back pocket always, and then the first time your voice gets recognized in real life, are you from the That's Movies Brothers? Then you have to immediately hand it over and say yes.
are you
and then
going to do
walk
that
away.
too?
No, just you.
Why?
I don't know. Thought it was more fun that way. Sorry, dude. I'm the only one coming up with ideas here. So.
I think you should do it so you actually have interesting stories to tell.
Wow.
At the beginning
was
of
that
our
not an
podcast.
interesting story about Brewster's and what did I say earlier? I said something, right? I'm wearing a shirt. Yeah. That's a story.
You know what's even a more entertaining story?
Yep.
Is that I can talk about movies with my foot on the table.
Christ?
Hey,
I think I said it weird.
but
What's
you
up, man?
made that up.
Okay. What did I make
You
up?
need stories about the fun things that happened to you. So tell me, what's happened to you this last week?
This last week.
Yeah.
Has it been a week since we...
Yep.
Oh, shit.
No, actually, I think it's been
it's
2.
less than a week because we recorded
You
it
know what
like
doesn't
Wednesday
matter?
or Thursday.
Any of this.
Oh, yeah.
So what's been up, dude?
What's been up with you, man?
I asked you first, dude.
I'm good. I've I have a
here's my
routine,
better
right?
here's my better question.
Yeah.
I want a new segment that I want to call.
Oh no.
What was is that? A new segment I want to call. Wow. That's the noise you made, bro.
It was distant. Caught me mid-sip.
Of
Slipping.
Nate's Adventures in Alabama.
I have not gone to Alabama. The money has run dry. They're expensive over there. The
what? What'd you do over there?
people, you see?
We're not going there. All right, so any
Further
other
sex?
Okay.
I don't
I'm shutting you
buy
down.
hookers
I'm
in
shutting
Alabama.
you down. I'm shutting you down.
Damn. What have you been up to? This is what
Not-
happens when you focus on me. You don't want this.
Not going to Alabama.
Same.
Yeah, why are you putting your foot on my pole?
This is by location, my pole. You can put your foot up there
Now
too.
it's my pole. Dude, have your feet gotten bigger, dude?
My feet have always been this size. What do you mean, dude?
I think your feet have gotten big.
You want to take a closer inspection?
I'd rather you remove your
No?
feet from my
You're
face.
not like Quentin Tarantino? You don't like
what are
them?
you talking about?
Dude's got a huge foot fetish. You didn't notice in Once Upon a Time all the feet shots of...
They were dirty.
Yeah, that's how he likes them.
Gross. I feel like you're just making this up.
No, Brad Pitt mentioned it at the Grammys.
Why would Brad Pitt know?
He was in the movie.
Is he getting asked
In
to
the
show his feet
scenes
from
where it was like
by Quentin Tarantino?
where Quentin was like, can we redo the foot scene again? Let's really get a zoom on the feet of this young girl.
I feel like you're lying.
I'm 100% dead serious. This is
You're
a real
100
thing.
what?
100% dead serious.
I'm 100%
All right.
serious.
I'm gonna Google Quentin. I don't even have to type in the whole thing. It's gonna come up.
Foot fetish.
Mm-hmm. Taryn
This is what you get on That's
Tinos.
Movies, brother. You find out very fun, interesting facts about.
F. Okay. O.
Bro, you're lying,
Okay.
dude.
O again. What? Dude, he's been
You're lying.
snuffing it out, dude.
You're lying.
He's got a foot fetish, bro. Okay, first thing, Screen Rant. Is that a reputable source? Okay.
Sure.
I'll go. How about the Odyssey Online? About IndieWire.
Well, you're not telling me anything about these articles.
What is up with Quentin Tarantino and feet?
What is up?
Shout out to Adrian Tyler. Wow, you guys should hang out. Once Upon a Time, it has many shots of bare feet, which has resurrected an old question: what's up with Quentin Tarantino and feet?
Someone's just realizing there happen to be some feet in all of his movies, and it could just be a coincidence. And someone's like, he's got a foot fetish. Fall on that bandwagon.
If I ever made movies, just like
you
most
would never
people who
put a
have,
foot in it.
I would not probably have many shots of bare feet. And he's had lots.
Name them. Name the feet.
Scene 32 in Glorious Bastards, when you see feet in the foot place. But yeah, so he's got a foot fetish. I can't remember where you were going from there.
Your foot's on my pole.
Oh yeah. What's up with you, man?
I'm
It's a strong start.
I'm tired, bro. Today's a day full of tired.
Wow. Okay. That's what you've been doing? You've been tired? At least I haven't been tired the last week. Fucking nerd. There's a lot of dead air to just leave going.
Fix it in
we
post.
are
Fix
recording.
Fix it in post. Just fix it in post.
That's not fun for me.
What have I been up to?
Maybe you did a special event on like Monday or something. I don't know.
No, what did I? Please tell me what I did on Monday.
I called your ass on Monday and we talked about it. You met The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He said, "What's up, man? What's up, brother? That's movies." Yeah, I know.
He's coming on to our next podcast.
Yeah. He's going to talk about Rampage 2.
That surprise that I had for you. That's it.
Yep. Thanks, man.
That's the story. No, so I did things Monday.
Ew. I don't like that.
So yeah, the Titan games we're filming close to here.
Sorry, that was the crack of a millie. Episode 3, boys will remember.
You have to calm down on those. There's already a can right there.
Mm-hmm. It's an empty can, sir.
So I went to where they were filming the Titan games, which is close to here, and I had a couple friends, and they were testing. Those of you who don't know, these kind of obstacle course shows, they have to have testers to make sure the obstacles are not too hard, not too easy, that they're functioning properly, all that kind of stuff.
That they don't kill people for liability issues.
Right, that. So, they were doing that, and I went to watch the actual filming, and obviously they were there as testers as well. But it was fun. It was super cool. But it led to a very interesting night because okay, this is ridiculous. I gotta sit up. I'm heated now. Let me just adjust my stand. Okay.
Better crack out the thermometer,
so
dude.
They had us park in a parking lot.
Yep.
Crazy. And it's like a fenced parking lot. I think it might be, I don't know if it's gravel or, no, I think it's like, whatever. There's a fence around it. It's not like a parking deck, okay? It's not like a structure.
Right. Fancy.
And so we pull in, we park, we go inside the waiting tent, and then they shuttle us across the street to the studio. And all the audience, when they left, I was on set for like 14 hours. All the audience left. And I was one of the last audience members, probably the last audience member there, because I was also like with the testers and hanging out with them after. And
you were the only car in that parking lot.
I was waiting on, so I was waiting on my friends to be done so they could give me a ride across the street to my car. So bro, I'm having a really hard time over here.
You are. This is very rough to get through. This is the worst. I'm tapping out, dude. So yeah, he's waiting to get a ride over to his car.
Make up the rest.
And they tow his car. Obviously, he's the last one in that lot. They only had the lot for like 6 hours or whatever. So car gets towed, but they don't tell him where it gets towed to. He has to try to find out. He has to go up to the Rock himself, the only guy who knew, and say, "Do you know where my Kia Forte is?" And the Rock was holding it the whole time.
All right,
that's the best I could do.
That's not what happened. Let me recap real quick here. I was in the audience. I was watching Titan games. It was super dope. And afterwards, I was waiting on my friends to be done testing. So they could give me a ride across the street to where I was parked. So that happens. I drive across the street. They drop me off, and it's locked. Like the fence is closed, and it's locked.
Okay.
So I check it. Again, it's locked. How many times have I said it's locked?
Was it locked?
I think it was locked.
Okay.
So there's a car. I can see my car on the complete opposite side of the parking lot, and then there's another car like really close to the fence where I'm standing. The headlights come on, and they drive up to the fence. They drive up to me, and they're like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "Yeah. Do you have a way to unlock this gate?" Which I feel like was not the best approach. I should have been like, "My car's in there," not just, "Yo, let me in." Like, I feel like I sounded real suspicious. So the first thing that comes out of my mouth is just, "Do you have a way to unlock this?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, I do." I said, "Oh, great, because that's my car, is part of the doing whatever." And she goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, but like I can't let you in." I was like, why would you tell me yes and then just be like, "But I'm not gonna." She
didn't want to lie.
Well, she could have just started with, "Yeah, but I can't." Like,
okay,
why?
So you want her to say what she said?
What?
You said, "Yeah, but I can't." That's what she said. That's what you wanted her to say.
She took a pause. She's like, "Yeah, I do," and then just like waited there, just to like crush my spirit. She could be like, "Yeah, but we're closed. Like, I can't let you in. Like, why? Like, what's going on? Like something." But it was just like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, awesome, cool." "Yeah, but like no." And so I was like, "But like my car, like I need it." I was a part of the audience across the street and at the studio, and that's my car.
Then were you like, "Do you not know who I am?" Kind of a big deal.
I have no comeback. I'm just gonna cry. So So I told her, do you know who I
I got it.
No, so I was like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, you're going to have to come back tomorrow. It's closed. I was like, is this a business? I was like, it's a fence. So
It's a business.
I was like, what do you...
Damn.
So she's like, you're going to have to come back tomorrow. We open it up back at 8 o'clock. And I was like, for real? I was like, yeah, my supervisor told me I can't let anybody else in tonight. And I get that. Like, I've been a part of, like, I've worked for places and you just have to do what you're told. If you can't do something, you can't do something. So I wasn't, like, giving her a hard time. But it was, like, midnight. It had been a long day. I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before. I'm like, and now I got to leave my car here and figure out how to come back and get it. So that was a pain. And I had to take a lift all the way home, get a ride to work. Then after work, I got one of my coworkers to drive me up to the parking lot and get my car and then go home.
Damn,
That's
you
the
got
whole
one of your
story.
coworkers to do that?
Yeah.
If we were coworkers, I would have never done that.
I almost called you and asked you to take me.
Well, we're friends. It's different. Probably
I know it's
would have
different.
found an excuse not to go. But if we were coworkers, I just wouldn't have done it.
Well, we're coworkers and friends.
Oh, shit. Don't ask me to go get your car.
I almost did, but it was like I got off work at like 3:45, and I was like, he'll probably still be working. And then my coworker kind of already offered, so I was like, yes, please.
And they offered?
Nice.
Is this coworker trying to have sex with you?
No.
Shout out to that coworker.
Next
That person's
topic.
nice.
All right, that's my story. It's been a long. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before I went, and then I spent a long day on set, and then didn't get a lot of sleep, and then had to go to work. And I'm ready for bed, but I'm here and
He's here.
talking to
He's
this.
here for you guys at home. Okay.
Here for Nate.
So every time you think,
I'm here to make what
the-
matters work.
Thank you. Every time you're at home and you're thinking, you know what, those boys over at the That's Movies Brother podcast don't care about you. We do. Especially Tyler, because he could be sleeping at the ripe late hour of 9:36, but he stayed up an extra hour so he could record this.
These episodes aren't an hour.
No,
They should be, but they're not.
This one might, because we don't have anything to talk about.
All right.
And the first 5 minutes are complete garbage, at least.
No, they're fantastic.
No.
They're great. All right. So
This week,
on
you're getting to know the boys. You're getting to know this is the boys episode.
the Oscars happened.
Oh, yeah. But we're not talking about that.
Well, we'll touch very briefly on a couple things, but
You didn't see the one movie that matters.
you didn't see it until yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. But we're not recording yesterday.
And guess
are
what
we?
I was doing yesterday? Talking to The
I am.
Rock.
That's you weren't talking to the Rock.
Dwayne.
You like waved at him from a distance at Max.
Wow, I did not wave at him. It
Oh,
was
okay.
really-
You just saw him from a distance and went, "Ooh, the
I
Rock."
did not do that, but it is kind of interesting to watch
I'll
people
do
like giggle and shiver in delight and giddiment when
Was that
people
the
like
what
that.
the Rock was doing?
He walked out, laid his eyes on me, and went,
That's Tyler Gillette.
but it's always, I don't know, because I don't usually get that way with like celebrities. He's a big dude, by the way.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Mm.
Uh,
But I mean, yeah, as we all know, Parasite won like all of the awards, pretty much.
So, yeah, but there's a lot of
And
like
I've
some
seen it.
there's some other stuff that we still need to watch before I feel like we can go in depth about some of these things about the Oscars. So
I mean, I wanted to see Jojo Rabbit in 1917, but that's about it, honestly.
Yeah.
That I really wanted to see. I mean, some of the other awards, like I don't know, costume design. I don't
yeah,
know.
we'll touch a little bit here and there on a couple of things because I have a couple of things I want to touch on.
Yep.
Before that, a couple things in the movie
Movie news,
which is I guess
Movie
Oscars
news.
is movie news. Guys, let me
Should
be
we
real
have
here.
like a lingo or a lingo? What the fuck? A jingle for movie news segment.
Yeah.
Sing us a little something. A little
I
jingle.
like movies and there's a lot of news.
Jesus.
I couldn't find the melody until I was halfway through.
And it just became Southern.
Country, you mean?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. All right.
Wait, can you do it again? I forget what it
I
was.
like movies and there's a lot of news.
There we go. Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna
Reminds
forget
me
about
of
next week.
the nationwide out. You know what I'm talking about? Nationwide is on your side. I do.
Because that's movies, brother.
Ooh, nice. I actually legally maybe not be able to use that.
Fix it in post. So, to be honest, though, this whole episode, everything's going to run into each other. This is loosey goosey. I can't stay on top of one thing. I can't seem to tell a story in a cohesive manner today.
Yep.
So
If you
I'm
are
just
a
trying to
fan-
make what matters work.
Stop quoting
That's
my
3.
shirt.
I think that's 3. We're gonna have to make a shirt that says "What matters work."
brother.
You know, for the merch that we have.
That merch dough. Let us know in the comments if you would buy it. I don't even know if I'd buy it.
Alrighty.
That's a good idea.
What?
Promote it. We should have shirts that we wear all the time. We should make shirts for each other. Or, just for ourselves, not for each other. Like, I'll make
yours.
For you. Okay.
Make you look awesome or as dumb as possible.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a cutoff, like a really
Ooh.
pretentious cutoff that's like all the way down
Up.
to the hip, like the
Oh.
whole side is cut out.
I thought you meant like a
crop top.
a crop top. Yeah, thank you. So my belly was out.
But I could do a crop top. I could post that picture on our Instagram of you wearing my crop top.
Please don't.
Once that Instagram gets up and running. By the time you're hearing this, it might be very well be up and
Jesus.
running about That's Movies Brothers Instagram.
If only I had written "That's Movies Brother" on like my stomach or something like that, then I'd be. More
I can
okay with
edit that in. That's not
that you
hard.
can edit, but not the episodes.
Fair.
Oh, God,
What
this
were
is
we
a
talking
fucking
about?
mess.
Sam Raimi is possibly in looks to direct Doctor Strange 2, which I think we talked about last
yeah, are you
episode.
fucking, no, we talked about this like 3 episodes ago. I brought this
But-
up, and you were just like, "Yeah, whatever."
But it leads into more things.
That might have been the first episode we talked about.
No,
that.
it wasn't. It doesn't matter. You might not have listened to those other episodes. I have more interesting news that leads off of that and topics that I want to discuss with you,
Okay,
my brother of the movies.
that's me.
Okay, so Sam Raimi
Mm-hmm.
directed the first 3 Spider-Man with Tobey
Mhm.
Maguire. So there is obviously crazy rumors that Sam Raimi, Spider-Man, multiverse of madness. Spider-Man
Make
multiverse.
another Spider-Man.
Spider multi-mad,
like
spider
they'll bring
spider Spider-Verse. Whoa.
Toby. What the fuck is his
Tobey
name?
Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. Thank
So
you.
there, I was reading some articles, and they were articles that have had insight from sources, most of which
Colander.com?
coming out to be true,
Hmm.
or at least some of them coming out to be true. And one of those was that Sony is trying to get Andrew Garfield back in a Spider-Man role. Now that's so I'm piecing all these pieces together. Okay, so also. And I thought this when I looked at it, but I didn't really mention it because I was like, well, maybe I can't see this very well. Morbius, the trailer, has Spider-Man in the background.
Well, written.
He's on a poster in the background.
Oh, okay.
And then it says murderer spray painted across the thing. You saw that. We watched it.
Yeah.
That Spider-Man does not look like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It looks like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. What's his?
Tobey
Tobey
Maguire.
Maguire.
You're welcome.
It looks like his Spider-Man. It actually looks like the movie poster from Spider-Man 2. It looks like that poster's
like
put on the
him
wall.
on the building, and it's all like,
Not on the building. He's like in the air doing a pose. I'll pull it up for you later.
Okay.
But my point, and even the spider, it's so small, so it's hard to tell. But that's the vibe I got. But I didn't mention. I was like, it's small, maybe whatever. I just kind of, brush it off.
maybe just the multiverse that they go into is our universe where we live, where we have movies about Spider-Man, but no Spider-man.
That would suck.
Well, think about it, right? I mean, they showed a poster for it.
But it didn't. But the image looked like the image from the poster. It didn't look like the poster.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying? I mean, maybe it was. It was far away. Here's my point. There's
Doesn't
rumors
explain
going
why they-
around also that Morbius is taking place, I think maybe because of that, in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man universe. Sony bringing that universe back. And then you have Michael Keaton, who shows up at the end, who we're inclined to think is the Vulture.
Right.
If this is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Verse, that means that some of these characters could look similar. For example, you have J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, who was in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
In all universes.
And then he shows up in MCU.
J.K. Simmons
But he looks similar, but he acts different. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you have another universe of yourself, you might look similar. Here's my point, is there is a lot of talk about, with maybe some, there's a lot of rumors, maybe some evidence, not a lot, that they are trying to get a live-action Spider-Verse going with, and I'd heard about this, a couple months ago, but with all this happening, it's still surfacing and resurfacing.
Right.
With Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. And I am 100,000% about it.
That would be interesting. Confusing for mainstream audiences, but that would be totally different. But I thought that they were kind of pulling Spider-Man away from MCU stuff.
Well, they signed another contract, though, with Disney, and there was a rumor that they're now in the plans to break him away within that new contract so it doesn't just cut off and he disappears like it was when he first was removed from the MCU. Those of you, if you don't know, guys, should we go into a breakdown of this? I think I did last time.
Well, you say last time, but like 5 episodes ago.
Yeah. So Sony owned Spider-Man. Back in the 90s, Marvel sold the rights to their superheroes to movie studios because they didn't see a future in movies.
Well, because they were going bankrupt.
So they sold a bunch of them. Not all of them, but some of them, like X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, stuff like that. So Sony owns Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, and Fox owns the X-Men. Then Marvel Studios decides to make their Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's become very popular. They use all these superheroes, and they're like, wow, we want all our heroes back. Like, we want Spider-Man. He's very well known. Sony not ready to give him up, which makes sense because he's probably their most profitable superhero character. They finally make a deal to where they kind of share his rights, and Sony signed him over to a certain amount of movies. So he had, I think, 5 movies. He did those 5 movies, and they were going to re-up a contract or discuss what the future was. Then the consensus was they didn't come to a deal, so Sony took him back, and he's not in the MCU anymore. So that happened a few months ago. I'm sure everyone's heard of that. But then they, a couple weeks later, they re-signed something which I knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so now there's rumors that these next few movies that he signed up to be a part of MCU is they're going to plan how to phase him out, either kill him off or teleport him into the Sony universe so they can have him. I don't know if that's true. If anything, do you think that Disney and Marvel would be willing to shell out enough money for Sony to cave and buy it, sell him? It's not whether Disney has money, but it's how much money do you think that Sony would have to be offered to take him?
I think a lot of that has to do with how well the future Marvel movies do. Because I mean, obviously they can afford it. They spent like $50 billion on Fox, 20th Century Fox, to merge with them. I think it's
granted, this is one character.
Yeah, exactly. It's one character. We're not spending 40 or 50 billion, but they could spend whatever they felt like was enough money if they thought that there was a big future there. But now, since the future of Marvel is so muddy, since we're losing, since basically all your core guys are gone, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and almost Chris Hemsworth, and that whole core foundation is starting to fade away. We're not sure about the future.
Here's the way I view what you're saying is I think that's how you feel about these movies. I don't think that's a general consensus, and I don't think you have proof enough to say that.
I think from a stockholder's perspective, right, of a Disney stockholder, we're like, okay, we just finished it. It made $2 billion, but we don't have a real solid...
There has been no evidence that it's going to go down because... Endgame did so well. The only movie, and it's all gone up since then, the only movie that's come out after that is Spider-Man Far From Home, which I think became the highest grossing Spider-Man movie of all time. So, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
There might be people listening to me, but I don't feel like looking it up right now. But I think that's what I heard. It is very, very profitable. My point being, then they have so many plans for all these new heroes. They're going to keep milking it until they can. There's enough fans out there that I don't think it's going to go at least drastically down for a while. So I don't think that there's enough evidence to kind of prove that. But again, they signed a deal for a certain amount of movies. Now, once those movies come out, it might be 5 years down the road. Then then it might have died down enough to where might not be worth shelling out tens of billions of dollars for one character. I don't know. A little
You know, it's a
far-fetched.
good thing to talk about. How much is too much?
With
Well,
a genre?
Let's take Marvel in specifically because we were on the 3 film a year schedule previously. Ended with Endgame. Now this year I think is only going to be 2, right?
No, I believe there's 3.
So it's Black Widow, and
Eternals.
then Eternals, and what else?
I don't know.
Because they
Maybe
usually
I'm
have a
wrong.
February release, but they don't have one.
All right, maybe it is only 2.
But aren't they ramping up to do 4 a year in the future?
I know that 2021, I believe, will be the first 4 year.
And then you're going to have all these Disney shows as well, or Marvel shows, I should say, on Disney Plus, with Bucky and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, What If. I don't know if What If will be as needed, or I don't know if Loki will be as needed either, because that's a pretty like alternate universe like thing. But assuming it is, how much is too much? Like, at what point will you go, or will not maybe specifically you, but kind of general audiences go, I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Having no idea what's going on anymore being too much, or too much. So there's a couple reasons too much can be too much.
Sure,
Because you don't know
yeah.
what's going on, or because it just becomes oversaturated to where people just start caring less and less about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this is the first, I feel like it's the first that I've lived through of this much from one genre, from
Yeah.
one studio, from one big conglomerate that's happening at the
4
time.
movies and a couple of shows on my streaming services is to me is starting to feel like too much. Like, there's nothing, it doesn't feel special anymore. Like, I liked going to see Avengers movies on their opening night. Felt like an event. It was like a once every 3 year thing. Except for obviously Infinity War. I'll call them part 1 and 2 basically. But that was kind of special. And then the movies in between, sure, but they still were sparsed out enough where it still felt a little special to me. But now 4 times a year is like basically, what, one every couple months, and then you have the shows in between. It feels like it's oversaturated.
I think if you can keep the characters interesting, then it should feel still, I don't know if special is the right word, but the special will be like, I think we thought Avengers and stuff like that was special because you get to see all these characters interact.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in Avengers 2 in Age of Ultron, having that party scene where they're all like messing around,
It's
that
my
was
favorite
super
scene
cool.
in that movie. Yeah.
So I think that, do you think that the Avengers movies, if I believe they will have more Avengers movies than they'll be, in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that next Avengers movie will feel special to you? Or do you think it's losing some of the specialty because they are crossing characters in the regular movies now? Does that play a huge, I think that plays a huge effect.
That does, but also at the same time, it's who's in them now. Because I don't even really know who my Avengers are anymore.
I don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah, no, but really, I mean, who are we really looking at as far as going to be in a next Avengers movie? Because your core cast of people that you cared about are kind of all gone. Thor's technically still around, but he'll probably be gone after this last movie, Love and Thunder or whatever.
Except there will still be Thor. It'll just be a woman.
It won't be the character we know. It'll be a different character that has to. And maybe that character will, woo me as well. I don't know. But
What are you talking about?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
Okay, it's Jane, right?
You know her. She was in the first 2 Thor movies.
Briefly, right? Not really.
You're not. It's not a new character you're meeting. She has 2 movies.
She's
of
obviously
backstory.
going to have to change a lot if she goes from being a scientist on Earth to the new Thor. That's a huge change. It's basically a new character.
But you're
at that point.
following her character development through the entire, from 1 to 2
Oh, you
into.
think they were planning on the first couple Thors to have her take over?
No, but they have to pick her up from where she left off. They're not going to start her as somebody new in Love and Thunder.
Right, but it feels a bit like retconning, right? Her old, because you're just kind of forcing. You don't have. There's no planned trajectory there. You were planning on. They decided they didn't want to really re-up her contract, and for all I knew, she was just gone.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you sit down and decide, okay, cool, where do we want this to go next? I think that's fine. If in the first 2 you don't know that's where you want them to go. Again, I don't know. In life, you figure out where you want to go next. there's a progression. To sit down at the beginning and to say they knew exactly what was going to happen with, like, I don't think that in Iron Man 1 they knew Thanos was going to be a thing.
No.
So that's my point, is like, as long as you build it correctly. So I'm hoping they build it correctly. I'm excited for it.
A little bit different than when we're talking about like an actual character. I'm not saying that there's necessarily even a problem with it. I'm just saying that the character we know from the first 2 Thor movies is probably not going to be very much like the one that takes over after Love and Thunder. Is that fair? I mean,
yeah, but that, again, is just like Thor is, dude, Thor in Endgame is not Thor from Thor 1.
The reason that Thor in Endgame means so much is because you know Thor 1, 2, and 3 and from the Avengers movies. That's why seeing him in Endgame is important.
But he's not the same.
No, he's not.
So my point is that my hope is that they will take what she's done in the first few.
But if they just got a fat guy to be in Endgame and tell jokes, it wouldn't mean as much as if they had
But
Thor
she's not just a girl in the movie. She's a girl who was in the first 2.
I never brought up gender.
So no, but I'm saying that she is not. We're not just picking a random girl and putting her in the thing. She's from the. So you're just upset that they're not taking someone with more character development in the first 2 movies.
Whoa. I never said any of that. I never said I was upset.
No, I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Like, so are you like? Is it the fact that they're taking somebody that doesn't have a ton of character development, and then they have to put more character development into the third one?
I'm not upset about the Thor's decision at all. My original point is that I don't know who my next Avengers are because I just don't really know who's around. And the core cast that I was invested in, which is not Jane from the first 2 Thor movies, sorry.
No, not being invested in her is completely different than her being a new,
that's
like
why
a
I'm
completely
saying
new
all
person.
the people I am kind of invested in are kind of gone, or they're in this nebulous region where, like, are they in shows? Are they in the movies? Are they in both? I don't really know.
Right,
you know
that's the topic you were talking about before you got on your tangent about her being a completely new person. But regardless, leave that where it is. I agree. I wish that's my only thing is I wish that they would build up the characters that they have before introducing new ones. The reason we cared about Tony Stark and Steve Rogers and Bruce Banner and then Thor, those were the main 4. The reason that we cared so much about it is because they each got their own movies. We built them up, then they brought them together, and they interacted, and they had their character
very
developments.
well cast as well.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. But who's not well cast, in your opinion, in the MCU? Like that would be an issue to make them important.
Captain Marvel.
I agree. I don't like the way that she portrayed Captain Marvel. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. But that's it for me. I think that Toby. We talked a lot about Spider-Man over here.
I think
that
there's a lot of tease. In the MCU.
I think that Tom Holland is fantastically cast.
Yeah.
I think he's great, and I think that Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch,
Doctor Strange is one of the few
Chris Pratt Guardians, which kind of weird and shit because not Avengers.
I don't know what Guardians is going to be. I don't even know what the future for that is. But they're not an event. They're not going to be part of that, from what I can understand. Right. I mean, maybe they'll have another reason to come back, quote unquote. But it doesn't really seem like it.
But my point is, you said, but they're well cast. I don't think the well cast is a good enough argument to not be.
Well, the problem is, I don't know who was in this new things. I don't know if they're well cast or not. Maybe everyone in Eternals is super cast.
Yeah. Okay. So you're moving past what I'm saying. So quickly, what I'm saying is, I want them to build up the people that are already here before they introduce new ones. And you said, yeah, but those other people were well cast. So yeah, but the newer ones, not the newer ones coming out, but the most recent ones are well cast for the most part. And I want to have more stories with them and build them up more. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and those are the main 3. I know Captain Marvel, but again, I'm just not a fan of how it was portrayed, but that's my opinion. So you have those 3 main ones. And so you build them up, you make them important, you make them the Avengers. That's my point. Make us care about these guys before you just keep adding more and more and more and more and more. Because when you do that, each character has less and less of their own story arc.
That even goes back to what we were saying way earlier, as far as like Captain Marvel and Black Panther having their sequels having late release dates. You know what I mean? Like 20.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
because they're and
pushing these new people instead of fleshing out the ones they have.
Right, so we're not going to get anything with them really for a while.
That's my concern. So that's me agreeing with you of the too much. Mm-hmm. If that's the that's my
I just
answer.
meant too much in general. Not even
but there's, like I said, there's too much for different reasons, and one of those being there's too many characters. Mm-hmm. So I think that might end up being an issue. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Marvel talk
Marvel,
today,
yeah.
which is very interesting because I plan on having a full Marvel episode sometime soon.
Oof.
That's gonna be. I could talk about this all day for many hours, but I want to get into more of our favorites of things. The Oscars came out. They had their own opinions.
Is this the boy cast?
But this is the Boy Awards.
The
we
Boy
had the
Awards,
Oscars Awards. No, it's the Brothers Award.
The Bolden Bloibs.
Do you have anything to say about the Oscars? I know we're probably going to talk more about some of those things later.
It was surprising. I'll tell you that. I really didn't think they'd give it to Joaquin Phoenix.
Really?
Because I thought everyone in that kind of circle hated Joker. And like that whole, because the media were saying everyone was going to go out and start shooting up theaters because of Joker and shit like that.
So we've both seen it.
Yeah.
Do you think he deserves it?
Well, yeah, when you look at the other nominees in the Best Actor category, and I'll give you that I have not seen Pain and Glory, so I can't talk about like Antonio Banderas's performance in that. I just have no idea. But he was the only one out of the movies that I saw that really got the solo movie character study treatment. You know what I mean? Like Leo in Once Upon a Time had to share the screen with like Brad Pitt and a whole, lots of other kind of characters that were taking away. So it wasn't really his movie. So I definitely didn't think Leo deserved it. Sorry. I think Leo's great in a lot of things, and he had won awards before, but probably not for this one. Still good though. And Adam Driver in Marriage Story would have been my next pick. But he has kind of the same issue where he's half that screen. He doesn't get 2+ hours to really delve into just his character. And Joaquin Phoenix does that for all of Joker. Every scene is dominated by him. And so, yeah, I think in the end, from what we saw, I think he did deserve it.
Yeah, I agree. From again, what I've seen, I haven't seen all the actors' movies who were nominated.
Yeah.
So those specific
There's
roles.
only 5 nominations. I feel like there's usually more than that. I thought it was like 8 or something like that. Like, because in Best Picture, there's like 8 or 9 films that were nominated, but Best Actor was only 5. I thought that was weird.
I think that he did, just from seeing that movie.
Yeah,
I can see him winning a Best Actor.
Oh, Joaquin is great, dude.
For sure.
He's. I mean, there's lots of movies. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying this specifically. Just seeing this movie, as far as not even compared to the other people, I can see like just that performance alone. Not even looking at any other performances, was phenomenal with what he was able to do. I think.
Well, one thing, because we haven't talked a lot about Joker. I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on it. Did you think some of the lines, especially some of the trailer lines, were just a tad bit cringy?
Example.
All I have are negative thoughts. It felt, I can't even really like put a pinpoint on it, and maybe it's just because it's been memed to death, but it feels a little bit, and I mean, that's certainly not Joaquin Phoenix's fault. That would be put on the writing, but it just a tad bit feels like it. I don't believe the delivery 100%. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying. I'd have to go back and watch even the trailer again. I didn't seem to have that issue at all when I was watching it.
Okay.
So I would say no, and I would say that there are. I think that some of those kind of lines, it all depends on how it's, like you said, being delivered. I think if the actor is able to deliver it in a certain way, a line can mean 2 completely different things depending on how it's spoken in life in general. But as an actor, you can have 2 different purposes, for what exactly you're trying to get across, your motivation. But bad writing can get to the point where no matter the writing can be so bad that even if you're a great actor, it's still going to come off not great. So I don't think it was obviously at that end. So I think that he was able to do it in a way, say those lines that they didn't have an issue with me at all. But so
yeah, I mean, if anyone was going to say those lines, I'm pretty sure in that context, Joaquin's probably one of the best to do it. But I just think that those lines being chosen, they feel, and I mean, maybe it was supposed to feel comic booky. Because I mean, it is a comic book character.
I felt invested in real with these.
There were just some lines that kind of took me out where I was like, "That's what you picked." I don't know. That's just me. I just wanted to get your opinion on that. But
cool. Cover Best Actor.
Yeah. As far as best actress went to Renee Zellweger for a movie I haven't seen.
Same. Awesome. Next.
Can't much say much about that. Supporting actor
Like I
went
said,
to
guys, this is a quick recap
Yeah.
of what we have and
Yeah.
haven't seen.
supporting actor went to Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time. I think he totally deserved
And I
that.
heard, and
Because we
guys,
spent like
again,
half
this
an episode talking
happened
about him. that
2
movie.
days ago from this recording.
Yep.
And I was working, and then I was busy all yesterday. I haven't seen the Oscars. I know who won certain things, but I heard that he gave some stunt people a mention. Not people
In his
specifically,
speech?
but that he said that he was mentioning how stuntmen should be recognized for what they do. And I think that's awesome, and I really appreciate that because that's a big part of movies, and they don't have their own. I think they should have an Oscar. And that's been a huge talk. That's been a
that
huge
makes
buzz.
sense.
That's been a huge buzz. I don't know if you've seen that, but online, especially as the Oscars ramp up, that they should have, like, stunt people should have an Oscar for stunts. Stunt coordinator, I think there should be a stunt coordinator
Well,
Oscar.
So
Or even stunt
the thing is,
choreography.
maybe I can understand the stunt choreographer because you can definitely watch movies and see where they really had to pull off crazy stunts, just like you can watch movies and see where they had to pull off crazy visual effects.
Right.
But individual stuntmen, that
That'd be
might be
hard
hard to rate.
Right, because there's
and
multiple. Sometimes there's
and
multiple
compare.
stuntmen for one character.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. But there should be like
And you don't
a
know
stunt
who did one.
choreography
Okay, stunt choreography I can get
or a
behind.
stunt coordinator or
Stunt-
something like that. Yeah.
Just stuntmen in general, I don't know how they would compare that.
Yeah, I
wish
don't know
they
if you could.
but
it would be harder, but I think there should be a stunt Oscar. It's a very huge. You know the movies that are made now that could not be made.
Costume design.
Almost every single movie that's made now
Mhm.
could not be made without stunt doubles and stunt coordinators. I don't know how it's been overlooked for so long.
Tom Cruise movies could be made without stuntmen.
Could he get nominated?
That'd be great if he won.
I don't think he's not a
Best
stunt
Actor
coordinator.
and Best. No, he's not his own coordinator. I'm sure.
So I'm sure this coordinator would be the person accepting the award because I'm sure it would go for stunt choreography.
But if they did have a best stuntman thing. Yeah, I mean, I would love if they could have a best stuntman thing, but it's just so hard unless they start writing down every single, like, who did what stunt and what scene got taken. And you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Oh, well, I love that scene where obviously some guy had to do something crazy. Who did it? I don't know. There are 3 guys listed for Brad Pitt's character or whatever. So
and they're putting like their bodies on the line. Like the stunt stuff, it's brutal.
Oh yeah,
they're,
it's
like
a really
out there.
high mortality rate. Yeah,
And even just if you, survive, which I would hope
or
so.
you screw up your back.
That's my
you
point.
know?
It's just
Yeah.
like, or regardless, like you're gonna go all in, and you're gonna be even just bruised and having a rough couple days to pull off that shot, and they're just so gung ho about it. Like I don't know, from some of the stuff that I do with, training and having minimal stunt training and stuff like that. It's
Professional stuntman Tyler Gillette. What do you think about the situation?
it's just I think it'd be really cool, and I know stunt doubles, and they work really hard, and they need to be rewarded for that.
Yeah.
I think.
Like I said, the only issue I
Because
have
the
with
way-
it is the actual how would you compare them?
Well, again, no,
yeah.
but here's the way I would look at it. It's almost like a movie award, and it would go to the stunt coordinator, I would assume, for best stunt
Okay,
choreography,
so
and then you would have the main
okay.
stunt doubles probably there to go up and accept it with them. Just
Right.
like for best picture, you have a bunch of people who worked on it
Sure.
go up there with them.
Okay,
You
that makes
accept the
sense.
award together.
Okay, if it went
That's
to
how I would
if it
see
went
it.
to the movie for the stunts,
And I'm
involved
assuming that
in
the
it.
coordinator would be the
Yeah.
one to keep it and take it home. I would think so.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways,
John-
that's kind of what I think. And then best picture was Parasite.
Parasite. Which
I haven't seen it.
I saw yesterday after the the day after the Oscars. Interesting movie, and I'm sure you heard. Totally made history. First foreign film to win Best Picture.
Was it?
Yeah, that's why I fully didn't expect it to win because I was like, a foreign film has never won. So I was just, gonna go off of trends and be like, yeah, probably not gonna win. But I was totally wrong, and it's a very interesting choice. There's been a weird reaction online. Some people think that it also obviously won Best Foreign Film as well as Best Directing and Best Original Screenplay.
Okay, I was gonna ask. Let me. You can finish first. I have a couple.
Well,
questions
I was going to say a
for you.
lot of people online have been kind of championing the idea that if you are nominated for Best Foreign Film, you shouldn't be able to be nominated and win Best Picture. I don't really have an opinion on this. I don't really
So this
think
is
it matters.
this is very similar to what I was actually going to bring up.
Yeah.
Today was if you do win the Best Picture, like why are there awards, or I guess why okay, I'm trying to figure out how to kind of word this. You have a Best Picture and then you have a Best Director award.
Mm-hmm.
Explain, and there very well could be. I'm just trying to think very critically here. Shouldn't the person that directed the movie best get the Best Picture award? How do those differ? Like, if your movie got the Best Picture, they should they not be the Best Director as well?
No, because I mean, that's not necessarily true because a movie could be very well directed, but it could suffer in other parts, and your movie could be very well written or acted.
But why though? Why then? If there's a certain part that suffers, it the director. I know the director doesn't have every set. There's producers and all of that, but when you get down to it, the director is trying to point this movie in a direction. And
well, okay, say if Marriage Story had won Best Picture. I think it's a great film, very well acted, very well written, and I mean it is well done. Directed. I don't think there's anything special about the directing for that movie. They do a good job in scenes, and we talked about that on our episode on that episode. But it's not like a particularly amazingly directed film, right?
So I'm trying to think like a Best Director could go to somebody towards a film that had maybe even more of a difficult job at trying to push this very interesting or very kind of out there topic and push it in a direction that can relate to people and make sense. So I'm not coming in, so that would make sense, I guess, if that's kind of what we're thinking. I don't think necessarily, I wasn't necessarily believing that when I brought up that topic, saying that the Best Picture should also be the Best Director.
Right. I'm
just trying to dissect it to see what conclusion I would come to, because there's a lot of awards that are very closely related. So I think it's an interesting topic to be like, to see how they actually compare and if they should have so many awards that are that closely connected.
Well, I think what might happen with Best Picture is that if more foreign films continue to be nominated and win, which I hope happens. I mean, as long as they keep making stuff of the same quality as Parasite, then you might actually see just the best foreign film category just kind of fall away, because they'll just kind of all blend together and just be best film. We won't need to have that delineation between the two. So if that happens, totally fine. Yeah, I think that's a different, interesting take, because I guess you might be able to argue, I don't know if I believe this, but having a separate category for foreign film, almost like having a separate category for animated movies, kind of puts them at a lower tier. Like, they can be best at this, but they can't be Best Picture. You know what I mean? And this it just like, I think Up was nominated for Best Picture as well as Best Animated Picture.
Oh, was it?
Back in the day, if I'm not wrong, I believe that's true. And that basically kind of broke the way for animated movies to be like, no, we can be the best movie that came out this year, just like Parasite can be the best movie that came out this year, even though it's not. It's a foreign film.
Yeah. In one aspect, though, when you go into like animated, I can understand the foreign to the best film, and I can understand animated because I love animated movies, and I wanted to get into animation for a long time. I have such a love for Pixar movies, but it is also a very different experience when you're watching an animated movie and a non-animated movie. A live action movie. There definitely is a different experience going on there, and it is nice to be able to see, because it's a very different process to make an animated movie than a live action movie. There's a lot of people sitting down and doing a lot of this work digitally that's crazy and super respectable. So it's nice to see a wider range of that get appreciated. because there can be so many different genres within animation. Like you can have a horror animated movie, you could have an action adventure based animated movie, you can have a sci-fi animated movie, you can have a romantic. Like there's so many that I think the animation is a good one to have on its own, because if you didn't have that, you might get the Up every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
That would get thrown in there, but without that, you might get one, maybe two in that category of Best Picture, but you wouldn't be able to appreciate all the other ones. And because there's such a different process behind making them,
Yeah.
I think that animated should stay by its own, because I like them so much.
Yeah, I don't think people would certainly
But
stop.
I get your foreign film thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people would stop making animated films just because they got rid of the Oscar for
No,
it.
that's not what I mean at all. That's not what I mean. I just like to see the appreciation behind it. It wouldn't stop. I'm saying, as far as like you're saying, the
we might
foreign
only
film might get dropped.
get a acknowledgement of it every like 5 or 10 years opposed to every
if it
year.
didn't
And the
exist.
same thing with foreign films, honestly. We might only get an appreciation of them because, I mean, you know, just like anything else, there might not be a year where something got as much attention, or something might not have just come out that's that good. I mean, Parasite's a bit of an outlier just because it's a foreign film that actually made a lot of money here, like in our theaters. So it's not.
Only reason it got nominated, we just care about them.
Well, no, I'm just saying it got seen by a lot
kidding.
more people,
Yeah.
opposed to a lot of the other foreign made films that don't get as much distribution here in the States. But I'm very interested when you watch Parasite. We have to do an episode on that because it's a very interesting movie. It's especially interesting because it got chosen for Best Picture up against pretty steep competition, I think, for this year. I mean, you do have stuff like Joker, Marriage Story, The Irishman, Once Upon a Time. I mean, I very much liked all those movies, and
But did you like them better?
I probably liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood more than I liked Parasite. But that's just, I feel like that's more
Your
of my
opinion
kind
rules,
of
bro.
movie. Yeah,
Awesome. And you should tell them that, because they'll change it for you.
thanks.
They'll go
I was
back
thinking
and
about
they'll,
writing a letter. Yeah.
they'll retcon all that for you. As long as we tell them that you're Nate Marhefka from That's Movies Brother, they'll change it.
I'm so sorry, sir.
We'll make what matters right.
But I still haven't seen Jojo
Or
Rabbit. in
count. What does your
1917.
shirt say?
We make what matters
Work. Well, I'm sorry. We'll make what matters work. All right. Well, that's a very, very, very quick overview of Oscars.
Yep. As soon as you see Parasite, we'll talk more about it.
So now that we're pretty deep into this podcast,
The Boy Awards. The boys.
we figured that we would.
Can you make up a jingle for the Boy Awards?
I already did, and I don't remember it.
No, that was for.
Oh, that was for
that
its
was
news.
for news.
I forgot that one too, but it was good.
Oh no! It was like that's movie news or something. I don't know.
It was country, dude.
Oh yeah,
But you can make the Boy Award one if you'd like.
that's Boy Award. The same.
So we figured that for this episode, we would talk about some of our favorite movies within some genres.
Flesh us out as movie viewers because we've been talking a lot about our opinions on.
And
more
I
recent
tell
stuff.
you what, we're going to get off on some tangents. This is not going to be very super structured here. So
really. And a lot of these movies we probably haven't
That's-
seen in a long time. It
that's
might
your
be
warning.
shit,
that's
and
your
we
warning.
can't remember.
That is your warning. Here goes. Should be a fun one. I'm excited. I'm just chilling with
Does King Kong count as a fantasy movie?
foot on the pole. Huh?
King Kong, does that count as a fantasy movie, you think?
That's sci-fi, dude.
You think it's...
That's
how's it,
straight science,
is
brother.
that's
I'm
not,
100%
yeah,
joking.
I was about to say...
This, I don't know, dude.
It's got to be...
A
that's,
giant monkey? Sounds like evolution to me.
Yeah, I guess...
Science. Everything's a science movie if you really think about it.
That's not true.
Also, I'm saying it's science fiction,
yeah.
and I just changed science fiction to
So
meaning
just
science.
Just straight up science, dude. Yeah, I guess I always make that mistake because when I think of fantasy, I immediately just think of like medieval, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, like that shit, like magic, like Harry Potter, like that's all I can think of. But really, fantasy is like Star Wars and like, I mean, superhero movies would count as fantasy.
We got superhero in its own genre.
Yeah, there's too much. There's too much there.
Now there's too much.
Yeah.
Go back 10 years, it'd be in fantasy. But all right, where are we starting? Give me a genre, boy.
Don't start with
me
the
a
good
genre.
stuff. We'll start with something a little smaller. What's your favorite comedy movie? Because you watch a lot of comedies, don't you?
The Office.
Oof.
Man,
Wait, hold on. Is The Office actually your favorite
I thought you were
comedy
going to
show?
say a show. Or I'm sorry, I thought you were going to say, is it a comedy? I was like, no, it's a drama.
It's a mockumentary.
There's a whole
Mock in there, so it's a comedy. But is it actually your favorite comedy show, you think?
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of comedy shows.
I guess that's true.
I don't watch
Sitcoms, as they're
more
commonly known.
Friends.
Much. I like Friends. It's
Do you
fine.
like Friends?
Yeah, I watched all of Friends.
I tried to watch Friends, and I could never get into it.
It's just, it's nothing great by any means.
I also don't think that I like shows that have laugh tracks.
I think that's just a different format because that's a very millennial Gen Z thing to be against. I feel like that's a common thing that everyone's talking about. Laugh tracks suck.
Yeah, and I heard someone
talk about
it's
Big
telling
Bang
you when you're supposed to laugh
and that kind of stuff. It's just
But I honestly don't think I like it. I'm not just saying that because people are saying that.
Sure,
but I'm
Do you
not
have any real concrete thing that you can point to as to why? Is it distracting?
I think it pulls you out.
Okay,
it pulls me out of it.
It's like an immersion-breaking thing.
Yeah, it's like, all right, cool. There's an audience sitting here. I don't know. It does take me out of the TV mindset, the TV mode. Instead of if you're at a show, there's going to be laughter. That's different.
Yeah.
I want to be invested, make it feel more real, even if it's absurd. Like example, The Officers. There's ridiculous things that would never happen, but
to The Office's credit, the way it is shot, being that fake documentary stuff, it feels, I think, a little bit more, real that way.
Of course, yeah.
And that's obviously kind of what they're going for at the same time. I think the laugh track and traditional 2-camera sitcom setups, like Friends, they just feel very familiar. And when you're in that mindset of I'm just gonna come home and it's 6:00 on a Thursday, and that's when Friends comes on, and that's when I'm gonna watch it.
Turn on The Office.
It just maybe that's kind of more of what you want. You just want something that feels familiar and easy to watch, opposed to. I'm not saying that The Office is by any means hard to watch, although the first season is. Just and you know why, but it's just I don't know. It's almost like why young people watch a lot of their favorite YouTube vloggers or something like that. If they get to know these people and it feels familiar, and it's that same format kind of can apply to how people watch sitcoms. And I think the Friends is a funny enough show in its own little way. It's just very different.
And to be fair, when I was younger, I watched things like The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. That had a laugh track.
Yeah,
but
I forgot it did.
So there's stuff like that, but
when you could have been watching high art like SpongeBob.
I wouldn't. Oh, I watched SpongeBob.
I know.
I watched SpongeBob. Favorite SpongeBob episode? Go.
Oh, the one where they have to paint Mr. Krabs' house.
Really? Or is that just the first one that came into your head?
That episode's great. That has the "we have technology" meme in it, and him having a vending machine in the middle. It's just a weird one-off episode that I don't know resonated with me really well. And the Patrick putting the dollar into the vending machine thing, and SpongeBob going, "No pet, no pet," and then it spits it back out. And he has to redo it. And I don't know. There's just a lot of good bits in that episode.
I'm trying to think of what my actual favorite episode would be.
I feel like a lot of people would say the one where they play for the Super Bowl is pretty big.
It's good. One of my favorite lines is firm we grasp it.
Wow,
that's one of my. I don't know. It's just one of my favorite.
Bob. That's a iconic one right there.
That's not my favorite, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
The one where for me it's a little bit mihoy minoy, but.
The one where they make the Krusty Krab into a fancy restaurant for Squilliam.
Krab pizza.
And it's
may I take your answer? May I take your answer?
And then they have the
Krusty
abomination.
Krab pizza might be Krusty Krab pizza.
Oh, that is
might be my
solid
favorite
ass episode.
And I know that's probably, if not the most quoted, just line like
Yeah.
Krusty Krab pizza.
Mhm.
It's really good. It's not just a boulder.
Where's my drink?
It's a rock.
My Diet Dr. Kelp?
How am I? Or the chocolate one's great.
Oh, yeah. Golly. Some real bangers, man. Rip Steven Hillenberg. And the defamation they're doing. They're all the spin-offs and shit they're making out of SpongeBob now.
What were we talking about?
Favorite
This all
comedy.
stemmed from a comedy movie. I told you this is gonna go off the rails.
I know. Favorite comedy movie, go.
I don't know, man.
What was the last one you even saw? You think? Can you even think of it? It's weird. Why don't we watch comedy movies?
I don't know. We laugh at other like last movie.
A lot of them
I
probably
laughed
don't
at because I thought
appeal
it was
to
funny.
like
Okay, to be fair,
the meme generation.
would you consider Jumanji a comedy movie?
Yeah, I think it's trying to be funny more than it's trying to do anything else.
It was. I really liked the second one. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Technically the third one, the second of the new ones,
Yeah, I don't
Because it
consider
is-
them part of the same.
but it is.
Well, yes, but you know.
Which I let me just say I appreciate that because I with all these new movies coming out, I hate when they just disregard the other ones and just do a straight up remake, and it's usually worse.
Really?
If it's worse,
A lot of people would argue that if you make a continuation, you can tarnish the memory of the old one.
so it depends on how it's done.
Yeah.
I
I mean, Jumanji. The
no,
new Jumanjis
actually
are so
no.
light.
To be fair, I think mostly I disagree with that because if you have a movie that's good, don't
Mhm.
remake it and then make it worse. If you make a sequel, at least that first one still exists
Yeah.
as its own.
I guess what changes is when you start pulling in the characters from the original. Like, imagine
Right.
if Robin Williams was still alive,
And then
he
it was bad,
in,
and it
he
was-
was in the
and it was
new
bad.
Jumanji with The Rock, and it sucked. That would suck.
Right.
That would really and that's why people hate the sequels, trilogy for Star Wars, because
Yeah.
Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford have to be dragged along through it.
But the way that they did it and they made it so the game washed up on a beach, and since it's magic, it's a magical game,
Mhm.
it transformed into a video game
Right.
in the 80s, 90s, whatever. And then that kid gets stuck in the game. Years later, somebody else finds the video game. And then they have references throughout the movie. And I didn't even notice this until later. The hut, the character in the reboot, Welcome to the Jungle,
Mhm.
that was stuck in the game for years. It
Oh,
was played by Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
He was living in this hut kind of thing. You remember that?
Yeah.
It shows the thing that it says engraved into it, built by or something or signed by Robin Williams' character, and I can't remember his name.
Oh, I can't either.
But
yeah.
apparently that was where he lived. I was like, that's a cool little nod. But then somebody was like, but he came out of that thing so messed up, so dirty, ravaging the woods, and he lived in this nice little hut where Nick Jonas is all perfectly fine, right next to this little trading town.
Yeah, with other people and stuff. Yeah, that's a little.
But I would like to say that time, obviously, they address that it works differently. So maybe it's he redid it, and it was there was no town there when he was there. It was a cool nod. I like the simple stuff like that.
So your
I
favorite
look too
comedy
much
of all
into it.
time is Jumanji
No.
3.
The first Jumanji's great too. No, you asked me which one was the most recent because I couldn't think.
Oh yeah, that's right. But man, yeah, I kind of miss the old pre-2010 comedies that they used to make. There's a lot of Ben Stiller, Seth Rogen stuff, Tropic Thunder. Have you ever seen
I
Tropic
never
Thunder?
saw Tropic Thunder.
It's
I've been
great.
for some reason recently I've been hearing a lot about it, not from other people, but just I don't
memes
know,
or
just
something from it. I feel
no,
it's not
I
all
was
that memes.
listening to Joe Rogan podcast with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
and they
started
talking about so much stuff, and they brought it up, and I was like, I need to watch this. I have to watch Tropic Thunder.
Man, the only time you can get away with blackface was that time with that movie.
So my answer is The Office. I'm not going
You
to try
can't
to
do
pick a movie that. I can't think, bro. First of all, I'm exhausted. Second of all, I don't know. I just don't know.
I mean, it's
I'm really trying hard to pick one out
comedy
here.
is subjective, almost purely subjective. So you could say B movie, and I'd be like, well, okay, I can't say you're wrong.
Okay, then The Meg.
You're wrong. Unironically funny, maybe.
What's your favorite?
Or actually, ironically funny. Sorry, but Yeah, I mean, I really like the old some of those old movies, like I was saying, and like the Jason Segel movies, like Forgetting Sarah Marshall and like I Love You Man,
Love You
with
Man.
Paul Rudd and stuff
That
like
was
that.
good.
And maybe even like 40-Year-Old Virgin is great. Like every time I see that like on TV, I end up watching like probably the rest of it whenever it's on.
Did you know that the scene where he's getting waxed,
Yeah.
he said he wanted to do it for real
Mm-hmm.
because he wanted real reactions. He's like, let's just do it for real. And apparently, the lady who did it
Yeah.
said she could wax and had experience with it and
She
didn't
had never done it.
because you want to get on a movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's some shit you do.
And
what? You'd be like, somebody'd be like, yeah, I need this guy. You'd be like an extra on something. You know, I need this. Can anybody you guys do
Jump
a
out of
wax?
this airplane right now.
You just lie and hope you can figure it out on the fly.
So I don't know. I thought that was really funny because apparently, like, he was in a lot more pain than he should have been because it wasn't. But anyways, I thought that was funny.
That is funny. But yeah, I guess. Oh man, it's hard to pick between those. But I really like I Love You Man. That's a really just solid, funny movie throughout. It's got a lot of dumb jokes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that. I know it's probably a bit of a weird choice, but I feel like they don't make. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Oh, the last good comedy I saw in theaters though was 2 years ago, 2018, Game Night. I don't know if you've seen that. Rachel McAdams, Jason
Statham.
Nope, not Jason Statham. And a bunch of other people. That movie is really funny. They're a group of adults who, ever since they were, I guess, college age, have had a game night where they play board games.
Mm-hmm.
And they get together and they have like a murder mystery night, but it turns out to be real, and they end up go through it, and it's ridiculous, but really funny. I've seen that movie several times. It's great. You should watch it. Everyone should watch it. It's fucking great.
Heard that, brother.
But yeah, that's comedy. We're done. It's the boys and their comedy.
All right, next.
What are the pick? I picked comedy.
All right, horror.
Ooh, that's
Another.
Okay, yeah.
I don't like horror movies.
Yep.
I don't like them.
I really like horror movies.
There are very few horror movies that I have seen like trailers for, see that are coming out, and say I want to watch that because it has an interesting story that would intrigue me.
Oh, so the other ones don't have interesting stories. Got it.
Well, I'm not saying that they wouldn't, but it has to be something crazy different and interesting just to me on a personal level for me to want to see it. And even then it's hard because I don't really like scary movies. So the first one of the first ones that I ever saw or saw a trailer for that I was like, I don't like scary movies, I want to see this, was As Above, So Below.
Oh, man.
Which was a great experience.
What a movie.
You, and our buddy John went to go see this.
And Seth wasn't with us?
I don't think so. Was he?
I remember
Maybe he
because
was.
the car that's on fire in that movie is his old car, his old Volkswagen
Yeah, he
Golf.
was.
And I remember him pointing that out. So
The
I thought
the best thing I remember was
Shout out to
there were
Seth.
scary moments in that movie, jump scares and stuff, and it kind of like is really slow, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, 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 everyone starts dying, and so there's a couple like moments where I'm jumping a little bit, or like there's some scary moments. But there's one thing that was very obvious was going to happen. You see this like really creepy looking depths ghoul from above.
She's just chilling above. She's an unfortunate looking lady.
Like slides behind this one person, like while they're over this like pit.
Oh, the cameraman, he's got to go down. Yeah.
And then, but there's one guy still at the top, and then you see this thing like go past
Right,
him.
it's the cameraman because it's a found footage, and he puts the camera down so he can go down.
So
and you
then
see
all of a
it,
sudden you see this thing kind of go past behind, and it goes around a corner, and like, oh no! And then all of a sudden, a couple seconds later, you see and it jumps out, and the guy falls down the thing, and of course it gets us. And Nate over here goes.
I know.
The
I
only person in the entire place to make a noise in the whole theater.
Bad track record of
And the rest of us,
noises.
as in like me, John, Seth, we're dying, like laughing at that point. So funny.
I think we saw It Follows too in theaters. You remember that, right?
I didn't.
Were you not with us?
Heck
Oh,
no.
That movie is interesting because that's a cool concept. I think you'd like for a horror movie. You know what it's about?
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I don't. But before I'm off this topic, as above, so below, you sent me a text message after that movie, after you got home,
Oh man.
that I feel like isn't really super funny to anybody else hearing it, but we're going to try our best. And by we, I mean Nate, because this was one of the hardest I've ever laughed. It is the hardest I've ever laughed from a text message, ever.
Man.
And I specifically remember
don't hype it up too much.
I specifically remember the phone, my little flip phone, full keyboard phone.
Man. How long? God, this was
Because
like
this was
6 or 7
before
years ago.
smartphones. It wasn't
Yeah.
before smartphones, but it was before I had
Before
one.
we did.
I remember reading this message, and I saved it to my phone because I could save messages because, with those phones, you have to
Yeah.
delete your messages every once in a while because they get
'cause
full. So I saved this one, and I'm so mad that I don't have it because the way it was worded, and I don't even know. Just you take it
I'm
away.
gonna try.
Take it away.
So the scariest part of this movie was after the movie. I live in a little town far off from the movie theaters and stuff like that, so I have to take the long windy wooded path in my car all alone, which for normal
No streetlights.
no streetlights. Yeah, just like country roads. Which I was so I was driving them and I was grooving a little bit. Everything's fine. I got music on. I was trying to distract myself a little bit, but it's creepy. Like it's weird out there in the boonies with no nothing. I was looking at my behind me in my back seat periodically just to make sure, because the movie had gotten to me a little bit. Man, I miss
was
being
afraid
used
of one of those
that scared.
below demons.
Yep, was gonna pull me into a well. Plus, I'm really afraid of getting crushed. Like that's probably my biggest fear of like cave-ins and stuff. In which that movie's all underground and like caves. So,
But you're out in the middle of the open.
so I'm out in the middle of there, and I'm getting a little freaked out. But I'm almost home. Nothing, I'm chill. So I'm like, oh man, I'm like pulling into town, and into my town. The first street you have to take the way I was going is through a graveyard, so it's like okay, it's a little spookier, a little bit more, but I'm chilling. I was just going in, so I go for a yawn, right? Because it's late at night. Go for a yawn. So I'm like at the peak of the yawn where you're starting to make that like the yawn noise, like, that right. So right as
wait,
you're,
excuse me, how'd that go?
yeah, it goes.
What?
I know. I like voice cracked up to it. But right before you make that noise, but you're at that full mouth extension. Something comes out of the woods on the side of the road that's driving it. Now I find out later that this is a baby deer, which is deer you're used to seeing, but a baby deer is in this like weird size, and it's like in the light of your headlights, so it looks all strange. It's got those googly eyes, so it makes me jump and yell. Right as you do, you're shocked, but
You thought it was a demon
yes,
from the movie.
yes, because it looks so weird. Honestly, it's like straight out of the womb, baby deer right now. And it decided to waddle out in the street. But I scream. Manly. Why?
You were fully convinced
Yeah.
that this was
Okay.
a demon
Yes.
from As Above, So Below.
And so I'm screaming, but I'm mid peak yawn. So my voice is about to do the and I'm also trying to do the from a scream. So I do the double voice demon that you hear in movies of the like that, like it's all like the mixed tone, right? And then I double scream because I'm like I'm possessed by this deer baby.
Scared yourself. You thought.
So that like half a second of fear you get when you're surprised by something turned into like a full 3 seconds of terror because I thought I was fully possessed because my voice did like the voice modulator saw noise. It was what an experience. I had to stop in the middle of the road for a minute.
To text me.
I don't think I texted you until later.
Bro,
but
he texted me this message talking about explaining all this and then thinking and I can just envision this happening and then how he was mid yawn and screaming because I thought a demon came out of the woods and then and it's so funny that you were mid yawn so you screamed, which in turn made such a horrifying noise.
Yep, the luck of that timing, man. That is
It came out of your mouth. I imagine being like a yawn, then initial scream, so you go, and then you go, it just builds because you think you're possessed, and that in and of itself scares yourself. It's so deep.
It's legitimately, yeah. I mean, man,
Oh,
you can't make that kind of stuff up, man.
I don't care if it was made up. It was hilarious, and I still think it's
Worth
so
it.
funny
Yeah,
to this
no,
day.
honestly, that would be good if I could. But yeah, that's horror movies.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite horror movie just because of that.
No, that's fair. I went back and watched As Above, So Below not too long ago,
Really?
probably like 3 or 4 months ago. I think it was free somewhere. And it was okay.
My favorite is A Quiet Place.
You think so?
I know so because I don't like horror movies. The
Yeah.
only other ones that I wanted to see, the only 3 I can think of is As Above, So Below, Don't Breathe, because I was like, wow, these people that
wasn't worth watching.
are trapped in this house with this blind dude, and because they try to rob him. It was a very interesting concept. That's the only reason I wanted to watch it.
I hated that movie.
I had to see Slenderman
Oh my god!
because
Slenderman
of
29. Was that last year?
No, we saw that with
We
no.
saw it with Seth.
Yeah, it was not last year.
but I thought it was early last year.
No,
You think it was early 2018?
it had
When
to.
did
It was
Slenderman come out?
yes.
It must have been 2018. Yeah, I guess you're right.
It was 2017.
What?
I'm guessing. I have no idea,
I thought you just looked it up.
but I think it's 2017. I'm going 2017.
No, 2018.
Really?
Yep, I just looked it up on IMDb.
okay.
August.
Oh, okay.
So we must have seen it a little
A year
late.
and a half ago.
Because I don't think we saw it when it first came out. I think it was pretty dead theater. But man, that is a dumpster fire of a movie. That was one of those movies where we were out just like laughing.
Yo,
Because
we were
the
laughing
scares,
so
the part
hard.
where you're supposed to be horrified is just so goofy.
Yo, we were laughing so hard in the theater
What's that
and
like?
trying. It's. Do you guys ever have those moments where you're trying so hard not to laugh, so hard not to laugh, and it makes it funnier. And you have that face where you're literally about to explode. You physically can't keep it in, and that was happening in that movie.
Man, wasn't
It
there
was
like
so good.
like somebody's boyfriend in that movie? They were like staying over because they were like high school age kids, and they were over, and then he gets like possessed by the Slenderman, and wasn't he doing like some weird shit with his like he was like smile. It was just goofy as hell, man. It was not scary at all. Man, I feel bad for everyone involved with that movie because it was just horrendous.
In A Quiet Place, I wanted to see because again, the idea of it sounded interesting, and then John Krasinski was in it, and he a dude, bro. He a dude.
He a dude, bro. No, yeah. I mean, well, one thing you still need to watch a classic of horror is, of course, The Shining.
I know. I can't believe I haven't
But-
seen that.
The Shining has been, to an extent, ruined for you by the travesty of film known as Ready Player One. My fucking
Has it,
god.
though?
Yes,
Why?
because it's not okay. So
I
what
know
they
that
show
it's
you.
not, I know that it's not. I know that they took a lot of creative liberties and went a certain way with it. You know what I mean? So
it's not the same thing, and the fear that you get from The Shining doesn't come from big scary grandma women or even Jack running around with an axe or any of that stuff that they show you in
Right.
Ready Player One. But the fact that you've already seen these scenes that the movie is, it's like if you watch I don't know. It's funny because when I went back, I rewatched the movie Alien recently as well, which was interesting because it's a harder movie to enjoy when you know all the beats of the movie. When you're watching it for the first time, it's crazy, like things and how they get revealed and everything. But once you already know everything about the movie, it's a little bit tiring to try and wait for the characters to slowly kind of figure shit out. And it's
I know what you're
to
saying.
an extent the same thing with The Shining, where you have this whole movie, and I mean it's a fairly long movie, and all these most of the movies leading up to climactic events, and all those climactic events you've seen in some shape or form already, so they lose their value because you've seen those climactic
I'm not
events to
disagreeing
an
with you there.
extent.
I just don't know exactly what, because I haven't seen the movie itself. I
Yeah.
don't know how much more there is, so I don't know how much was. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I can tell you from someone who's seen it and loves that movie, you've seen too much.
To be fair, dude, it's been a while since I see Ready Player One, but I love that
Sure.
movie so much. It's probably my favorite sci-fi like movie.
You're destroying me. Oh man, that movie.
He
is
hates it.
awful.
He hates it.
That's
It's
that
not my
honest-
favorite, but I didn't
Probably
have an
like
issue
the
with
worst
it.
of the last 10 years movies. for me. Like, it's just because it's not only bad for a whole host of other reasons. I mean, there's literal scenes where you have guys in VR running along the streets. They have no idea where they are in the real world, but they're running next to cars driving down the road with full not being able to see it all.
Like cars running, driving around.
They're in like a weird ice cream looking van driving, and while he's doing VR in the back, and next to them they can see the people helping them, and they're like running, being fucking Halo guys in VR, and they're running on the street.
It's also very interesting that like
what the fuck are they doing?
What causes that game to work? Some people have like these full out treadmill things. Some people are sitting on the couch playing. So it's like,
or just have headsets opposed to a full suit. I mean, I guess you just get more out of it.
I'm not gonna let you talk for another hour about Ready Player One.
God,
horror movie
so
favorite
bad.
for you? Mine's A Quiet Place. I think it was very, very well done. There wasn't a ton of like jump scares, and it's one of those movies like I feel like when you don't see the monster or don't see him till the end.
Yeah,
that
classic Spielberg effect, right?
Right, but they didn't do that with this. We got to see them, like they waited a little bit, but you kind of saw them, and they still managed to make it still, kind of.
I think that movie's tense. I wouldn't really call it scary for me.
You could say thriller,
yeah,
but I just know that it's trying to be, I think, in that horror kind of genre, and I have to pick that as my favorite because I don't really like horror movies.
Sure.
I haven't seen a ton of them.
I definitely love the Shining a whole bunch, and I mean, it feels like a pretty, classic answer.
You suck.
So
Next genre.
I'll talk about a little bit more about other stuff, just because of that. But it feels at the same time I don't want to. It feels bad to give it to some other movie when I've seen The Shining many times and I love it. I still haven't seen Doctor Sleep somehow. I do want to kind of give credit. There was a horror movie that came out on Netflix, I think a couple of years back, called The Ritual. That was really cool. I think I may have told you a little bit about this movie. It was like 4 guys go to the Swedish or Scandinavian mountains. And then fucked up shit happens to them in the mountains. It's not like the best movie ever, but I really enjoyed the weird ass monster in that movie, and some of the scenes were legitimately creepy as hell.
That's cool. I know nothing about these. Let's move on to a new genre.
Fine.
We got to keep this conversation interesting.
I gotta get a guest.
I'm gonna fall asleep on you.
Ghost.
I'm gonna fall asleep on you.
Horror ghost? I just said I gotta get a guest horror ghost.
Yeah. One day when I'm not here, one week, just get a horror ghost.
Get one of my ghosts. I'm gonna get the deer that I almost ran into from Maximum So Below
to talk a little bit
as
about
an adult.
horror
to get his
movies
side of the
with you.
story.
You probably scared.
Just born, walking around.
And then I hear this
Motherfucker's
demon.
car comes out.
No, I hear this demon inside of this mechanical machine come tumbling down the road. Let out this awful screech.
Okay, I don't think you could hear it through the car.
I don't know, bro.
Let's since I didn't know which one it was, let's talk about fantasy, man.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what the difference of fantasy and fiction are here. Are we going
sci-fi,
fantasy?
you mean, right?
Yeah, well, kind of. I guess. Yeah.
Because all fantasy is fiction, by definition, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Non-fiction fantasy.
Well, I'm also thinking. Well, I guess you would put it into different categories.
Yeah, like if you wouldn't say Braveheart. Well, I mean, Braveheart's not 100% true, but you wouldn't really call that fantasy.
Right. All right, so fantasy.
The biggest thing you think of is Lord of the Rings, I think, off the bat, right? But I've
never seen a single Lord of the Rings.
You would love the Lord of the Rings.
I know I would, and I would love to watch them. I agree.
Unfortunately, 2 and 3 are on Netflix right now, but 1 isn't. That's how they get you. You have to rent the first one in order to watch the second 2 for free. But if you ever have like 12 hours, dude, you got to watch the extended cuts, man. I think it actually is in total 13 hours if you watch all 3 of them. Which, isn't that bad if you've ever done a Marvel marathon like you have.
It's a lot of movies.
Yeah, so...
How many hours is that? Because I sat and watched every single Marvel movie before Endgame. Not consecutively, but within like
all
a
in
couple weeks.
1 week. Yeah, I can't. I was about to pull up a tab and do the math. What the fuck? I can't.
Well, let's just roughly say 2 hours, and it's more, but even just roughly 2 hours.
2 hours for 23 movies? What, 46
I think it's 22. Hours? 22 for till Endgame. I think 23 is...
With Far From Home?
Or is it 21? I think it's 21.
23 altogether.
Endgame is the 21st movie.
Talking about?
I know. We're back on that. There are 23. Yeah, 23 films. So 22.
There are 23. Oh, okay. It's 22, I guess, before.
Yeah.
So 44 hours, if you say
That's
roughly 2
insane.
hours.
That's insane. I did that.
Good job, man.
Thanks.
You could have watched.
So what's
The
your
Lord
favorite
of the
fantasy
movie? Gosh, favorite fantasy movie. I actually think I had a pull up here, dude. It's The Never-Ending Story, dude. No, I'm just kidding.
The Never-Ending Story.
Have you ever seen The Never-Ending Story?
Are we talking about a big dog dragon? Or a Never-Ending Story? Where are we starting
big
there?
dog dragon. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, The Never-Ending Story.
No, what big dog dragon?
You don't know what I'm talking about at
I
all?
seriously don't know what you're talking
Hold on.
about. Oh, no, I do. I can envision what you're talking
Yep.
about, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, favorite fantasy, done.
Oh man,
Why do I feel like I feel like this is a really bad, like my memory is not where it should be right now.
Yeah,
and
no,
I can't
it's
remember
hard.
anything.
It's hard to come up with this kind of stuff on the spot.
Well, maybe we should have wrote some
Planned.
things down.
No. Have you? Did you? You don't. You've never.
You don't.
You don't. You never had Harry Potter.
Popular fantasy movies: Avengers Endgame.
Perfect. Harry Potter.
No.
You never watched any of them?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Well, somebody tried to make me watch them a little while ago, and it was just, well, let's say a little while ago. That was probably 11 years ago. But yeah, I just couldn't. They didn't hold me.
You know what movies I liked back in the day? I say back in the day, but that's not fantasy.
That's maybe sci-fi.
All right.
It's just, I guess, it takes place in like a weird future, but I don't know if that qualifies as sci-fi.
Well, what I was going to say
sorry.
is the Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, that's right.
And I liked those movies. Did you know that they're actually talking about rebooting the Chronicles of Narnia here soon?
Yay.
You couldn't care less.
Not at all.
I'm one of those
sorry.
people that I'm curious just because I like those movies and I'm ready to see them try again.
I
It's
don't
more
have
of a
any-
curiosity.
Yeah.
Of course I want it to be good, but I'm not going to be super hurt if it's not.
They just feel like an off-brand Lord of the Rings to me, and movies about kids interest me less and less.
I mean,
Just where
That
like
makes
kids
sense.
are the lead actors. Yeah.
you a kid, boy.
You a dumb kid, bro.
I don't have much to say about fantasy movies.
Yeah.
I'm about to just move right
Pan's
along.
Labyrinth. If you've ever seen, that's a really good movie. You should watch that. It's Guillermo del Toro. It's weird. There's a guy who has hands on his eyes on his hands, and he holds his hands in front of his eyes like this. Hopefully, viewers at home, you've seen it, so you know what I'm talking about. But
Nate
he's
looks
real
really stupid.
Yeah, well, he's
It's
real
fantastic.
creepy looking. So it's neat. Pan's Labyrinth.
Burrito.
Neat.
All right, so next.
Neat. We never even said what our favorite was.
I don't care.
Mine is I'll just go The Lord of the Rings, sure. And yours is The Dark Crystal. Perfect. Okay. Next.
Next,
We're doing great. Hope you're really getting to know the boys.
romance. Now
Romance.
you're gonna really get to know the boys.
Wow. Have I ever seen a romance movie?
So, what? You go first, dude.
Long Shot with Seth Rogen and Charlize
I
Theron.
think that's a comedy.
That's a romance.
That's no.
500 Days of Summer.
Have you actually seen that?
I've seen bits and no, that's the Joseph Gordon-Levitt thing. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of 50 First Dates.
Have you seen?
No, I've not seen 500 Days of Summer.
It's I want to watch it again because it's been a while, but it was good.
Mm.
It made me feel for this poor dude. It's a very interesting perspective of like just a cycle of relationships. And yeah, did you ever see Silver Linings Playbook?
Nah.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it came out. God, that came out in like 2011, something like that.
I don't know. It's been a hot
Oh, it's probably 2013 actually. Let me see if I got it right. 2012. I was right in between.
The Notebook.
Oh man, that was a big deal. Way back when. Way back
So
in the day.
if I'm going to be honest here, which I guess we can kind of I can't put these together. Another category that I was going to talk about was musicals.
Oh, so you're going to talk about La
But
La
La La Land
Land.
is, I guess you could call it romance.
Yeah, that's
story?
definitely it's the crux of it, right?
How about Marriage Story?
That's a anti-romance.
It's a marriage story.
That's
It's
marriage.
a love story.
That's marriage,
It's a
brother.
love story, but it's a romance story.
I don't. Wait, it's a love story?
It's definitely a love story.
You think so?
Yeah.
About no more love? Is would you call it a war
It's a story-
movie if
it's
it
a
was about no war?
It's about love. It's falling. It's the process of being
I mean, I get
in
what
love
you're
and
saying.
falling out of it.
I get what you're saying, right? But like I just said, I think there's an expectation when you say a romance or a rom-com or something like that.
But that's the whole clever thing about Marriage Story is it turns that expectation on its head.
I don't necessarily think so. I don't think Marriage Story is trying to convince you, like, or trick you into thinking, oh, you thought this was going to be about a marriage? It's about a divorce. No, I don't think that's what it was going for. I don't think that one was clever for me. I think nothing. I think nothing, according to that long silence.
Specifically the director, because I was listening to some other podcasts and other
am I
stuff.
gonna get called out?
Noah Baumbach describes it as a love story.
He's just being pretentious. I'm just kidding.
In telling the story of a marriage coming apart, I could actually focus even more clearly on the marriage itself. That it could be a story about marriage as much as it was a story about divorce. Well, I thought that was going somewhere else. That told nothing. I'm trying to see exactly.
I'm saying that like a romance movie always has to end with the two people falling in love with each other, but felt so
romance
different.
and a romance story and love story, is that different? It's kind of interesting because there are romantic parts of Marriage Story. You know, even in the end when he rereads that letter, it's a romantic kind of letter
I didn't
telling
see
about
it
why they love each other.
necessarily that way. I didn't see it as romantic. I wouldn't use that word.
It's just interesting because I've heard it being talked about, and as well as I believe by the director, saying that it's a love story, but it's a very different side of a love story that you usually don't see. Because I think there is this. Do you think that they love each other even after the fact of them being apart? Like, is there some sort of deep-rooted love that they know that they can't be together? They know they're not meant to be together, but it's almost a respect and a love of keeping this family together, even if it's for the kid.
Gosh, I don't really think so. And I'm not just saying that to back up my point. Really trying to think about it. And I don't know if I have enough to go off the idea that they actually love each other because, it just feels like the whole time. I mean, it never really feels like there were times, but it didn't feel like they hated each other. But
yeah, the quote that I keep seeing is, in quotes, is Marriage Story is a love story about divorce. It's just very interesting. That's a whole other kind of topic.
no, yeah, I definitely wasn't prepared to really answer those questions about it.
Well, be ready. Be on your toes.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta
that
be
is
on-
movies, brother.
I have to be ready to answer every movie question you can ever think of.
Hey, calm down, because we'll make what matters work.
Hate your ass.
So, La La Land would probably be my favorite. If we put Marriage Story into this kind of weird, not necessarily romance category, it's kind of off on its own. Even then, La La Land does something different because it's not about divorce. But it also, and you haven't seen it yet, but it doesn't necessarily exactly go where you think it's going to specifically.
Right.
But I do really like La La Land, and it is a musical, and I know you don't like musicals.
Hate them. Hate everybody who likes them.
I don't like a ton of musicals. There are some that I like. I've been a part of musicals, and I like performing in musicals, but I don't really enjoy just going to sit down at a theater to watch a musical. Is that weird?
Yes.
Okay. And then when you put them into movies, I feel like depending on the movie, it very much does change the dynamic. I really liked, what is it called? The Greatest Showman. I know you probably couldn't care less about it, but
Oh, I actually care a lot about The Greatest Showman. I think it's bad.
I liked it I liked the movie.
No, I never saw the movie. I just have a problem. You remember? I had
know.
this big
I know.
rant.
I just like the movie. Now, what it's based off of and whether that's all true or not, that's a whole other topic. So
That's history, brother.
if I had to pick, it'd be La La Land. Romance. Go. Whoa! Whoa! Hiccup! Oh!
Good guy.
I got stomach pain in my chest.
Those are some painful hiccups. Wow.
I had a peanut butter and jelly. I think you're trying to kill me with your peanut butter and jelly. Yo,
It was
hold
too.
on.
It was too crunchy for him to handle, dude. He can't handle the crunch. He's a creamy boy. He's a creamy boy at heart, and it's getting to him. You gonna make it?
I think so.
Do I need to cut this out?
No, we're good. I'm back. I'm here.
All right.
I'm gonna make what matters.
Don't fuck you. Have you ever seen When Harry Met Sally?
Is that your favorite romance story?
No, I passed
Movie?
it. I have seen it.
No.
I kind of like it. Billy Crystal.
So is that it?
Works for me. And Carrie Fisher's in that movie.
Can you pick a movie?
No.
Are you learning anything about Nate? He doesn't like romance. He hates love, and he doesn't like singing.
And I hate women.
What is wrong with you?
I just feel like that goes along with it. No, I don't hate women. I was looking for something specific because I felt like I had seen one that I actually liked, but I'm just going to say The Lucky One with Zac Efron.
You haven't seen it. You can't pick a movie you haven't seen.
Damn it. A Walk to Remember. These all have the worst titles. Dude, did you ever see A Star Is Born? Was that was the year before?
No. Did you?
Uh-uh.
Well, I love that we're sitting here talking about movies we haven't seen. I guess we can move on. What you've learned
Aladdin.
is okay. That's
Sing Street.
we're done. We're not going to talk anymore about musicals either because you'll have nothing to say, and I'm not going to sit here and talk to
Phantom
myself.
of the Opera. Does Phantom of the Opera count? It's a romantic musical. I kind of like Phantom of the Opera, weirdly enough. I haven't seen it forever, but I remember liking it.
Phantom of the Opera is here.
I can't tell you what that movie's about,
It's a phantom
but he's like
in the opera.
Two-Face, right? He's got a fucked up half face
I don't know.
because he wears that weird mask. It's really only like a third of his face.
Crime movies.
Oh, crime. Yeah.
I got my favorite.
You got your favorite?
Yep.
Go.
Baby Driver.
That's your favorite?
I haven't seen a ton of crime movies, so I got to catch up on some of those. But I love Baby Driver, and that Baby Driver was I think my top 10 movies of all time for a while, and probably still is.
So
Especially when I had first seen it, but I really, really like it. I really
liked Baby Driver when it came out. Saw in theaters. I haven't seen it since, and that was back in 2016, if I remember correctly. Now, I didn't feel like I watched kind of movies back then with quite the same lens that I do now, especially when it comes to story elements. And I only say this, I can't back this up personally because, like I said, I haven't watched it in a long time, and I can remember what happens in it, but I can't remember the details. But I was listening to some other kind of commentary, and Baby Driver was brought up for one reason or another, and they were talking a lot about a lot of the flaws in the actual story for Baby Driver. So I have to go back and watch it. I hope I don't end up hating it, which, I mean, I don't want to make another opinion on someone else's opinion, but at the same time, if I watch it and actually kind of run a fine-tooth comb through it, it might not hold up to the scrutiny that I remember But I do at least remember very much enjoying Baby Driver, so I won't. And I really like Edgar Wright as a director. You should watch some of his other movies if you really like Baby Driver, Hot Fuzz, and Shaun of the Dead. Oh man, yeah, those are good. As far as movies go for me, man, just seeing this, I won't say this is my favorite, but Sicario, which came out almost 5 years ago now. The first one was really good, man. I love that shit. That was real fun. But probably the one that kept with me. Oh, and then obviously Pulp Fiction. That's definitely a crime movie through and through. That's a really good one. But my definite favorite is a little movie called No Country for Old Men.
What about?
You've heard of it?
I have, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, watch it.
The Irishman.
You still haven't watched The Irishman, have you?
I haven't.
Yeah. The Irishman is it is a very well made movie. It's pretty, Scorsese as fuck. Just how it's made. And it's really The Irishman for me is a movie all about one relationship, and I'm trying not to give anything away, obviously. But it kind of all builds up to one moment, and that's cool, and that is a impacting moment for the movie, but. Man, it's 3 hours, or a lot of 3 hours, just to build up to that one thing. And so, I mean, it's well done and it's well acted, but it's just not a story for me. And I'm not as huge of a fan of the 60s, 70s era mobster kind of guys. That kind of crime movie isn't my favorite. But No Country for Old Men, Josh Brolin, and Javier Bardem. Man, what a combo. That movie's great. Also, what is it? Hell or High Water. Both these movies are pretty recent. No Country for Old Men was 2007, and Hell or High Water I think is even more recent. It has Chris Pine is the main guy in that one. It's
You say recent, it's 13 years ago.
Well, yeah, I'm saying I'm not bringing up The Godfather,
Right.
So, which obviously I can't say is by any means bad. It's very well made. It's just not for me. I'm not totally biased. I'm not a huge fan of The Godfather. I just find it a little bit boring, to be honest. You probably would too. I don't think it would be your kind of thing, especially since you don't even like really crime movies in general. Did you ever see Gone Girl from a little while? Well, I said a little while ago. Man. Yeah. That was another movie I liked a lot when I saw it in theaters, but again, that was Gone Girl was probably 2012 as well, so 8 years ago. So I don't know if it, and especially since it's such a convoluted movie too, I'm really afraid that if I look at it again, I'm gonna be like, this shit doesn't make any fucking sense. But I'm definitely gonna go say No Country for Old Men. Fair. It's a really fun one.
All right, we got a couple things left.
Oh, 2014.
We have drama, sci-fi, superhero, and animated. What do we want to tackle?
I guess we can go ahead and let's do sci-fi. That's a big meaty one because we haven't said a lot. Hit me with your sci-fi, dude.
So for a long time, my favorite sci-fi movie was Inception. It is still up there. I'm trying to think of some more.
Didn't you say a few episodes ago that was your favorite movie?
It was Once Upon a Time.
In Hollywood?
Not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was my favorite movie for a while. It was my favorite movie. I don't think I would put it as my all-time favorite anymore, but it is up there. So that's a top contender for me. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm sorry, but overrated, in my opinion, drives me crazy. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, we've talked a little bit about this,
and that is regarded as the best sci-fi movie of all time. At least it was when I was in school and had to do a paper on it and fight either for or against if it was the best sci-fi movie of all time. And I had to then fight for which one was, if I was against it, or support why it was. So I said that 2001: Space Odyssey was not And I said Inception was. Anyways,
Ooh.
that was
must have been hard to convince your professor.
I got an A on that.
Oh.
He doesn't have to agree. You just have to have good
just
points
have
and
to put up
write
a
it well.
Valid,
Argument. Valid argument.
So,
what did you think of what I need to know your 2001 Space Odyssey?
2001 is it's one of these things where when you watch it now after everything, just because you know kind of a lot about like HAL 3000, like that kind of element to the movie and these kind of things, it felt lesser because I went into it knowing as much as I did about it. So I don't have like a real affinity for 2001. I can get why I think it was maybe boring or something like that, and I there probably is, I don't know enough about like technical achievement at the time, but it probably is very impressive for when it came out technically, and I think that's probably where a lot of the praise comes from. I wouldn't put it up there for. I don't even really. I forgot when we started talking about sci-fi. I forgot about it. It's not for me.
There's so much that is like happening as far as first of all, it shouldn't be considered the most like the best sci-fi movie of all time because of technological things, and that's it. Like it's got to have a lot going for it to be the best of all time, and for me, it didn't. Like, yeah, of course, it does move slow. And dude, the last like 10 minutes of this movie, maybe it's 5, I don't know if I'm over exaggerating, but it's minutes that you're watching an iTunes visualizer screen. It's a bunch of colors in random patterns, like warping. I kid you not, it lasts minutes.
Too highbrow for you. You just don't get it.
I can't.
It comes off as a pretentious movie. It's
That's
so
what
weird
I'm saying.
because
It's like you have to get to a certain point where you can't just say, you can't always chalk these things up to when you have films like this that are experimental and supposed to be deep. I understand that, but then you reach a certain point where you then use it being art, I feel like, as I don't know if this is a proper way of saying this, as an excuse to just do anything. But at the same time, if somebody likes it, because it is art, if somebody likes it, that's fine. And I'm glad that they enjoyed it and they got something out of it. I want a movie to make me feel something, and if you got that, that's cool. But again, you get to objective and subjective things, and there's a lot going on there that just I don't understand how it can be praised so highly.
Yeah, it feels pretentious as fuck, to be honest. It really does, which is so weird because a lot of I do like Stanley Kubrick movies. I mean, we were talking all about The Shining earlier, and even A Clockwork Orange and stuff like that, and they feel so different from 2001, and so it's weird to me that movie is how it is. But I don't know. He's a weird guy, and I really don't have any kind of surprisingly, I don't have any particular strong feelings for that movie at all. Just kind of exist. Yeah. I haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe I should buckle down and bite my nails and go through it and watch it again and try to
There's
figure
so
out
many
what
movies
people
that I still
are seeing
want
about it.
Yeah, that I still want to see, that I'm not gonna rewatch this kind of movie at this point in my life.
So
what about you? Sci-fi.
So there's a guy who's recently started making movies as of 2015, Alex Garland. He has made 2 movies, Ex Machina and Annihilation, and they are both really up there for me. I really like both of these. They're like classic sci-fi as far as like the concepts that they're tackling. Like Ex Machina is about, AI and how you can, differentiate between humanity and intelligence with, people and objects and stuff like that. Just really cool stuff. And Annihilation has some weird stuff story-wise, but what it shows is so... I love movies that are fucking weird, man. I mean, that's why I really like The Lighthouse so much when we were covering that, and why I kept, watching it over and over again. And Annihilation is fucking weird, and you're not sure, or at least I wasn't, how to feel by the end of it. And a lot of the things that it shows you are really cool conceptually. And so, I don't know. I like both of those movies made by the same guy. Annihilation is based off a book, and Ex Machina maybe, I don't know, but both really well done, and they're probably honestly they're tied for my first place. I really like both of those. I do remember I would love to have Interstellar be my like up there, but the ending ruins that movie so bad. Have you ever seen Interstellar?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you agree with me with this, but I love 70-80% of Interstellar, and then the ending just totally loses me.
Why?
Because it's this like it's trying its hardest to be this grounded in reality science thing, and then it basically just says it drops like love is the tether between us and time and everything. It's the
Is
fourth
that what it
dimension.
said?
Basically, yeah, from what I got from it. I mean, somebody prove me wrong, but that's basically how he's able to talk through the bookshelf, through the watch, to his older daughter from where he is in this black hole is through the power of love, basically.
Well, I didn't think it was necessarily through the power of love, but he was using the fourth dimension to talk. I mean, because he loved her, but
They
not
say
through
the
the
word
power
love
of
a
love.
lot for that not to be the
I have to watch it again. It's been a minute.
I've
It's
seen
very
it several
interesting.
times. It's a beautiful movie. I
Yeah.
love Matthew McConaughey in it. And the concepts that they talk about, like time, relative time, and that kind of stuff, and especially that scene where he has to see all the messages that his
Oh yeah.
family and especially his daughter sent him, and in his just short couple hours on that planet. That's just nuts.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. At the end, he goes back and watches like his daughter die, or like on her deathbed,
mhm.
and she's like a grandma to him, basically age wise.
Oh yeah, no, she's old as hell,
Yeah.
like 90s.
Yeah, that's
and
interesting.
he's
But there's
still.
just so many movies that fit in the sci-fi that are just so well known. Like you have like Jurassic Park, that's sci-fi.
Yeah.
You have The Matrix.
And the first Jurassic Park is like one of those movies I could just watch forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it so many times now. Oh man, it's great.
You have The Matrix. You have, I mean, and then you're talking about one that's so well known as far as it made so much money, Avatar, which
oh yeah,
that's a whole nother conversation.
I've been meaning to like actually rewatch that for the first time since I saw it in theaters back in 2009. Just because it's on Disney Plus, obviously. I still haven't gotten the actual want to do that.
Yeah. Can I say another one that I didn't think about, which is technically
Oh,
sci-fi,
yeah, go for it.
that I really like? Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh man, yeah. The whole, honestly, as a whole, the Planet of the Apes reboot has no place being as good as it is.
The third one was not.
The first and third are not as strong as the second.
I really like the first, and I do really like the second one.
I think
It's just
the second
I think
one's
the first and
definitely
second
the
one. I think the
strongest
first
one.
and second are stronger than the third one, because I remember what didn't we kind of just see like again? It's been a minute, but
Mhm.
the monkeys the apes were
the monkeys
trapped in these cages for a while.
Yeah,
And I felt like there was kind of not a lot going on.
It felt
Very
yeah,
different turn than you expected it to.
It kind of felt like a crappier version of the second one. But still, overall,
Yeah.
like it's just really well done, especially with all the mocap and shit like that.
Crap.
Mocap. Damn.
Mocap.
Andy Serkis is gonna come kill me in my sleep for calling it mocap, dude. That's his life. No, but yeah, no. I mean, whenever somebody pitched rebooting Planet of the Apes, which is a goofy ass movie, especially because I don't know if you've ever seen the Tim Burton version that they made with Mark
I've
Wahlberg.
seen like images.
He
and
like
the
makes
clips.
out with a female monkey in the end of it, dude. It's fucking it's bananas.
All right, and that's movies, brother.
That's movies.
We're done. We're done.
Oh man, that's what. I can't believe I just naturally came to that.
Yeah,
What do you
those
think
are
about
good.
The Matrix? Do you have an opinion on this?
I've only seen the first one.
It's probably, yeah, most people would tell you to stop there.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm going to watch the rest, but I saw the first one. It is good. It is very interesting. And I don't know. I mean, it's one of those movies that I heard so much about it before I saw it.
Yeah.
Were you the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone our age has, because it had such like a crazy legacy around it. 'Cause
Right.
nothing was like it. But it comes off when you watch it, with our not having that kind of new, fresh, this is crazy feel to it. It feels campy because so many things that we did watch first
Yeah.
ripped it off.
Right.
Right? Like the tight leather and the sunglasses and shit like that. Like
that ages it for sure.
yeah.
When it's
But then
supposed to be in
also-
the
but we
future, which is
watched,
really funny.
Like every like shitty sci-fi parody, like
Yeah.
we would watch like a family, like remember like Fairly Odd Parents did like a shitty
Dude,
like
there's
sci-fi
so many
parody,
of 'em, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. They all did kind of
You know what's
Matrix stuff.
interesting is that look is so like aged, but
Mm-hmm.
it's trying to be cool in the future. Are we gonna see that like the movies that we think look cool and futuristic now? You go 20 years in the future and be like, you can tell that was made in
What's something that we
2010.
think is. I'm trying to think of other comparisons.
To be fair, they don't have a ton of like futuristic type movies. I feel like right now, I feel like a lot of sci-fi are like the time doesn't really matter. For example, Inception. Cool, they can control dreams. They're dressing just like
yeah,
they dress.
but that's like that feels like 10, 20 years sci-fi. It's not like
right.
super
That's what I'm saying. I
sci-fi,
can't
yeah.
think of anything.
And like a lot of sci-fi is obviously, I mean, I guess you could maybe loop like stuff like the super, even though this is probably more fantasy, superhero and like
Right.
Star Wars kind of stuff.
So I was just gonna ask, Star Wars. Does Star Wars not hit that list for you for one of your favorite sci-fi movies?
Well, it's really fantasy more than it is sci-fi, I think, because it's not really.
I would think it's more
It's taken place a long time ago.
in a galaxy somewhere.
Well, just because I feel like sci-fi. When I think of sci-fi, the first thing I think of is like Star Trek, something that's like trying really hard to explain all the science fiction that they're doing in it, right? I don't really think that's necessarily you need that. Like that's not what defines sci-fi, I don't think, but it's just what I think of, and Star Wars doesn't try to do that
Well,
at
it's
all.
interesting
It
because
just does
I have
whatever it
heard
wants.
arguments that it should be classified as fantasy, but if you look it up, it's classified as sci-fi.
Well, yeah, sure.
If you put in the sci-fi, would you pick like Return of the Jedi?
Well, I definitely wouldn't pick Return of the Jedi.
No?
I don't. Return of the Jedi is probably the weakest of the original three.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Return of the Jedi. I'm thinking Empire Strikes Back. Because a lot of people argue that that's the best one.
Yeah, that's the
And a lot of
pretty common
people-
argument. I go back and forth between if I like the first one or the 4 or 5 more. Just because I've probably seen 4 many more times, but that's because we used to watch them on the VHS tapes, which I actually have behind me. And I, as a wee lad, I'd shoot
As
up.
a youngling.
I chewed up the Empire Strikes Back, so it cuts out right as Han and Chewie get imprisoned on Cloud City.
So would you
but
not argue as that one of being your favorite?
it's kind of weird because I'm trying to look at them as like a whole movie, and I really don't think of them as
Look,
sci-fi. Opposed to
I
just
don't
looking
care
at them
if
as a
you-
trilogy and like part of the greater universe and that kind
favorite
of stuff.
doesn't necessarily mean objectively. This could
No,
be
I'm not
partially
trying to-
subjective
yeah,
and all
no,
that too.
I
I'm
don't-
curious.
Yeah.
This should be mostly subjective. They got to learn about us.
Right.
They
no,
have
I mean,
to know
Star
that no
Wars
matter
is
what,
definitely.
we make what matters work.
Oh my god! I really hope you heard him say or referencing my shirt, because if you didn't, you're gonna be really confused about the 7th time that's been brought up. I really obviously really enjoy Star Wars. It's just I guess I think of it less and less when I talk about these kind of things, just because of how it's been tainted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I still think I kind of reserved that for my fantasy.
You didn't even bring
part,
it up
and
when
I
we talked
didn't
about
bring
fantasy.
up fantasy either. I know it's so weird. I don't know why. I just totally forgot about it. It's definitely up there, but I wouldn't list it as number 1.
Fair. All right, next category. Let's do animated.
Ooh, this will be fun.
I have
Incredible.
I have a lot of like honorable mentions when it comes to animated movies. Yes, my number 1 has to be Incredibles. A very, 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 very close second that I even had to take a second and go, is that number 1? It is Into the Spider-Verse. because that is my favorite Spider-Man movie, is Into the Spider-Verse. But I have such a close connection to The Incredibles, and I grew up on it, and I watched it so many times, and the story is so good and so.
I do want to watch it with you and try to see if we can.
Because me and Nate had this decision of
see if it's a perfect movie.
We made this decision. I'm sorry, we had
a discussion.
I can't speak. We had a discussion about some of our favorite movies, and when we brought up The Incredibles, we were trying to then kind of find plot holes in these movies that we really liked, and we're thinking like The Incredibles is one that we either can't at all or has the fewest of almost any movie we can think of. It's so well put together.
Yeah, and the simplicity really helped to that as well. But as far as the story, but I mean, not to say that it's simple necessarily. But it's just a man.
It's so well done, and I love superheroes, and you will continue to learn that as this goes on.
No.
And I think this was like the starting kind of drive for it. The starting drive might have been Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because I watched that all the time as a kid.
I didn't know that.
I love Power Rangers, but Incredibles has to be number one.
Which Ranger did you like? Red Ranger?
It's red, bro. Now, well, I think I kind of had a special place. I love the White Ranger. His suit's super dope looking. He's got these like cool shoulder pads, and I've always been like I was gonna say a white dude, which is true. But white is like my favorite color. I love white and black. I love simplicity of white. It just looks clean. So my second would be Spider-Verse. Very, very well done. Another one that I can already tell you a plot hole of right now.
Uh-oh.
So there's that. You want me to tell you?
Plot hole of what? Spider-Verse?
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, go ahead.
When Miles is inside the facility, where at the end, when all the dimensions are like ripping apart and tearing together, and you're seeing like buildings come out, and he's fighting Kingpin, and he like slams him. First of all, should have killed him, because it killed the first Spider-Man. Well, granted, he had a giant explosion and then was hit, but I don't care if he's dead. That's not what matters. He hits him really hard, and he can barely stand up. Kingpin stands there and waits for him to stand up, and he goes, "Have you ever heard of the shoulder touch?" It's a great line. It's a great scene. He should have just punched him again. He would have died. He could have beat on him right there. He would have been dead.
Yeah.
So this is an overarching plot hole. I'm talking like a scene specific. There is no reason after he started getting up, because he let him slowly and feebly like get up and then do his shoulder touch and like shock him back. He just like, he watched him and just kind of makes a face.
That's a pretty classic like
of course
hero villain thing. So just to play devil's advocate, couldn't you argue that Kingpin was arrogant and
he thought
he already won?
He looked confused. So maybe you could. I would like to argue that. I would like to just say, yeah, you can, because I love this movie so much that I would like to close that up. I don't know. I have to watch it again and be very adamant about kind of the visual cues. But I love that movie. It's the visuals. From the start, I'm like smiling like a
Oh yeah, I remember when they we were
like
watching
ear to ear grin when I was watching
Venom,
that movie,
and they played that little snippet.
Yeah, at the end.
That was the best part of Venom.
And then quickly, two of my other favorites. I love Toy Story. Toy Story has a special place. I got a replica Woody doll.
Those toys are sociopaths.
There are plot holes in those movies, but they're just good. Up and Ratatouille.
So
I love both of those movies.
You know what's funny is that like some of these Pixar movies, like Up and WALL-E, I don't know about Ratatouille if it applies, but they have like these incredibly strong opening sequences. Obviously like WALL-E when he's on the planet alone until I guess the Evie shows up, I guess is the next thing that happens. And then went Up, obviously the first 15 minutes where there's no dialogue, it's just all music and they just tell the whole story.
Eve. I was not going to say it, and it was killing me to not say it.
I couldn't remember. Sorry. Shit. Throw one more E on
Eva
there.
because he says it like
Eva. Oh, that's right.
Because he can't speak.
Right.
But anyways, what were you saying?
I'm saying they have these super strong opening moments
so like
that I
established
love.
stuff.
But then it feels like those aspects of those movies are stronger than the whole movie put together. For Up and Wall-E, I'm really talking about.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think what I mean by that is I think they're so strong they set a very strong precedent for the movie. But I think without those, you're less invested through the rest of the movie. Like having Up is a good example because everyone, there's that meme. It's like, oh, they did a better love story in 10 minutes than blank.
Yeah.
Or in a 3-minute montage. And it sets such a precedent that you feel so much for his character.
Carl?
For Carl.
Yes.
The second that is over and you see him old and alone in his house, there are funny moments when he's like on the his little like chair that goes up the steps and it like stops and like hits and it keeps going. There's funny moments, but then you're like, and you feel for him more deeply than if you're just like, there's an old man in the house.
Right. No, I'm saying what you're saying is right. Because of these scenes, you do like feel
it makes the rest of the movie better.
You are so much more invested for the rest of the movie. But I'm saying these opening scenes are so strong, the rest of the movie almost feels like it lesser for it. Because look at Wall-E, right? Like Wall-E has probably a longer time period where it's like the first probably 25 minutes maybe of the movie. But then once I'd even count it until they get on the ship for Wall-E is where it starts to take a dive, I think, because they get on the ship and then it's basically just him versus all the other little robots and people on the ship trying to get the plant. And
I haven't seen Wall-E in a while, but Wall-E I think is one of the weaker ones.
Yeah. That opening though, that first bit, I can't remember how much of the movie it is, but basically until they get on the ship, that's one of my favorite. I love all that shit.
That's
it's great.
Not even just an opening though. Like that while he's on there, like that's a good first half of the movie.
Well, because I'm including the part where he's with Eva while she's kind of like when she lands. So
yeah, but
until
even then,
they get on
still
the ship,
it's still a decent amount. But even then, I disagree to an extent because I feel like it doesn't make the rest of the movie seem worse in comparison. Because I don't compare it because I consider that whole movie as a whole. As far as like, sure, there's better parts and worse parts. I understand that, but like, I think that it just makes the rest of the movie have a better impact. So it just makes it better. So like the setup and Up at the end, when he opens the adventure book, it's like my adventure book or our adventure book, and they were going to fill it with all the stuff that they had done. And then obviously life happens and they were trying to go to Paradise Falls and then they could never afford it. And then she passes away. And he has the tickets and he's going to surprise her with her. It hurts. Anyways.
Yeah.
So at the end, he's flipping through the adventure book and he's seeing all these pictures of them just doing like regular day-to-day stuff and pictures of them, and it gets super emotional. And that would not have the same hit if you didn't have that stuff at the beginning. And then in the very last page, because he hasn't flipped all the way to the last page or maybe even opened it since she passed, he flips it over, and the last page says, I don't know exactly what the quote is, but it says like, now go make some adventures on your own or something like that, or make some new adventures. Go make some new adventures, something like that. And that's what shifts him because he leaves Russell and Kevin, the bird, when the bird hunter is basically trying to get Kevin.
Yeah.
And he leaves him. He's like, I have to get this house here. It finally lands right there. And he's looking over the book, and that like makes him like change his mind and go back and help because he's like, this adventure with her has been closed. I'm moving. I'm going into way too much detail right now. I love Up, but my point is all of what happened like right at the end, that turning point of the character that always happens right at the end, and that the climactic scene happens, just means so much more with it. So I don't think that it's like, I don't compare it like that. I just go, wow, that was amazing fuel to make it.
You can compare parts of movies to other parts.
You totally can. I'm just saying that it was fuel to make the end such a good fire.
Yeah, I guess it just feels like once you finish with that opening and then you start talking, he gets the thing, and the stuff with the kid is cute and everything, but the interactions with like the old evil man with all the dogs and stuff like that. I don't know. That just doesn't feel as strong when you compare it to the
and like that could be the best part. Like if you're like that's the best part of the movie or that's the favorite part, I totally understand and respect that, and it might even be my favorite part.
Yeah.
but the word that you used doesn't make the rest of the movie suffer. Suffer is not the right word. It doesn't make the rest of the movie suffer. This part might be better, but it adds to the rest. It makes the whole movie better.
Well, it makes me wonder if they had taken out kind of the middle third of the movie and not had that extra plot line made it obviously a lot shorter, and not had this whole extra plot with the evil guy who's got all the dogs and is trying to ruin whatever their plan is. I can't remember. And if you just had him, the opening, and then him take the house and have his revelation about what he was trying to do, and
then what does he go back to? Like there's what's the other action? Like what does the kid have to do? It's just building blocks.
Well,
you have to completely rebuild the story. You can't just take it out without rebuilding stuff.
You have to do stuff. But his, the driving force, kind of his action that he needs to take would just be like an internal conflict, right? Like you could make it about, I don't know, about letting go or something like that. That's totally internal.
You can't take Russell out of this though.
Russell's
yeah. You
no,
can't
I'm not saying that you take the kid out of it.
At the end too, when he's like talking about like, yeah, my dad is because my dad's gonna come and put my final badge on, which was helping the elderly, and then he's like, I don't know if he's gonna come and all this stuff because absent father kind of thing, and then at the end he's like, Russell, do you have anybody to pin your badge on? His like scout leader. And then he's like, and looks in the audience and looks super sad because dad's not there. And then Carl shows up and you're like, and your heart melts and it's like super awesome.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm here for him. It's just like, so yeah, I mean, if you take that part out, you just have to build different things and I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, it's really strong. I'm just kind of,
what is
I'm just playing with the idea.
Your
my favorite
animated, because I just talked about mine.
Wow. I don't watch them. I don't know.
Inside Out, because it's the only one that actually made you cry and feel something.
Bro, dang, you ain't gotta tell everybody on the internet about it. I haven't watched
The Girl Ran Away.
Shut up.
Sometimes I just want to run away.
I'm not a furry, but I really liked Zootopia when I watched it.
Is this are you making a joke or are you serious?
No, I really did like
It's
Zootopia.
good.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I didn't know if
Monsters
you'd
Inc.
seen it. I do like the original Monsters Inc. I was not a fan of Monsters University.
I like Monsters University,
but it's funny about Monsters University is like Randall's entire character is not threatening. It feels way less threatening. I shouldn't say not threatening, but it feels way less threatening in Monsters Inc. when you realize that he's just like a guy who needs glasses.
Oh yeah. You just take those off. They're not scary. Okay, then it's just like
he
his
just starts squinting,
thing.
and that's him. That's his character.
It's kind of funny though, man. It's...
No, I mean that was a funny bit, but it makes you go, man, that kind of. It's
Yeah,
like,
I know,
I hate that kind of stuff usually, where they take away from a sort of mysterious character like that.
All right, I think we should move on. But unless you have a favorite animated,
just
we got
rapid
2 more
fire,
things
dude.
to go, bro.
Come
We got 2 more
on,
things.
Bro, just rapid fire, killing me.
Give me another. What's your favorite animated?
Up, like the plot details of Up for like 30
dude.
minutes, bro.
I know, bro.
No, I don't want to say Zootopia is my favorite animated movie ever. Fuck, I just can't think of anything.
Toy Story.
It's not
Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4.
Never seen any of the other Toy Stories except for the first one.
Are you serious?
Yep. Oh no, I saw Toy Story 2 because I was still a kid. I think when that came out.
Don't give that as an excuse. Toy Story's great.
You know how I'm weird about Toy Story.
Because Randy Newman?
That's one. That's one reason.
No, why?
No, because I think
you gonna cry again?
You fucker. No, the motherfucking the Buzz and Woody are both kind of like shitty. I don't like either of them.
No, I know the first one for sure. Toy Story 3 is really good.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so
Toy
I can't
Story
say
3
I
is really good.
like it, but I just never got around to. I don't know. I didn't have the drive.
Yeah, you don't.
But yeah, I have this whole thing where like Buzz.
It's The Incredibles, isn't it?
I mean, probably. To be honest, The Incredibles
Big
is really
Hero
fucking
6?
strong. Never saw Big Hero 6.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah. Oh,
Yo,
fantastic, Mr. Fox.
We're watching Big Hero 6 together. We are watching Big Hero 6.
That's the have to watch movie,
Bro. We're watching Big Hero 6.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is like claymation, I think, or
Treasure
stop
Planet.
motion. Oh, Treasure Planet. That
You have a love
that I
for
have
Treasure
a
Planet.
childhood love for that. I can't believe I forgot about that movie. Holy shit! No, Treasure Planet is fucking great. It's really. I watched like an hour and a half video on Treasure Planet. And
I need
how
to watch it.
Like,
I haven't seen it, and I don't even know if I've seen all the way through, but I've been seeing it like at least 10.
oh man, it's so like.
If you watch Big Hero 6 with me, I'll watch Treasure Planet with you.
Yeah, fuck. Okay.
All
I
right,
need to
moving
watch.
on.
Oh, man, but I want to talk about Treasure Planet.
All right, I'll let you talk, bro.
I just wanted to gush about the animation in that movie because it's like 3 different
To be
styles
fair,
of animation.
I didn't even talk in depth about my favorite one. We might have to have an episode where we just talk about our favorite animated movies.
Okay, all right.
That way we have time to go in
Yeah,
depth.
I'm
We're
sure
running
we'll
short
hit
on
that. Well,
time.
I know we've been recording for like 3 hours. But
We have 2 more: superhero and drama. So let's
you
go
don't want to hit
superhero.
Western?
No, I'm sure there's more, but let's go superhero so we don't have to end on superhero.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's just get it out of the way. I think what most people would argue is the best superhero movie of all time might be Dark Knight.
Do you think that Avengers: Infinity War and/or Endgame has swayed that?
No.
I think it has a bit.
What? That the general perception? Definitely not Endgame. Infinity War.
I would think, especially Endgame.
Really? That people think Endgame is a better movie than, or I guess superhero movie if you want to make the distinction. I don't know what
Like
really changes.
as far as like fans like generally liked and all that.
oh well,
um,
that kind of stuff. But I'm saying
I'm
like
not just saying again.
amongst-
I'm not just saying like critically speaking.
oh well, that I mean that's a little bit of what I was kind of talking about. Yeah, that's why I said that's why it's widely known as kind of thought of as the best one. I mean, I really like Infinity War, but yeah, I think just especially if you compare villains on Dark Knight and Infinity War, I really like Thanos, but Heath Ledger's Joker, man,
It's good. I mean, it's great,
Yeah,
but I hate Batman's voice. It takes me out every time I hear it. Every time, I hate it. I hate it. The one thing that is not the one thing. There's a couple better
know.
things, which might be a hot take about Ben Affleck's Batman. Is
well, he actually
He
just
has a
used a
voice
proper
changer.
voice modulator, which
sounds
just
so
makes
much
so much
better.
more sense. Yeah, it's
I can't take anybody seriously when they talk like this. It's so bad, bro. It's so bad.
You've seen those, like, I think they were like college humor skits that they did
Yes,
for
yes.
those. I love all those little skits with that. I think it was Pete Holmes doing the Batman. They're fucking great.
All right. So let's cut to the chase here. What's your favorite? I don't care about what's more
I
critically
know.
acclaimed.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Batman's overrated. Batman sucks.
Wow. Hot
kidding,
take,
dude.
dude.
I'm kidding.
Hot take. Batman sucks. Would it be any of the Marvel stuff? Do I care that much about? Really am a big fan of Civil War, man.
I was almost just going to say Civil War.
Yeah. Civil War is fucking great.
You had an issue with Civil War. The entire villain you have an issue with. I'm surprised you're picking that.
So I do, because I don't think that
We can't
Baron
start this
Zemo- I know.
conversation.
God damn it.
This
That's the
conversation, because
problem.
we've had this conversation. But say it
All
quick.
right.
Make your point. I'll make my point, and we're done.
Very quickly, I don't think, not without going into any details, so this is a purely unsubstantiated claim, Baron Zemo's plan is at best really coincidental that it works out. Because there are a lot of factors that just have to happen to have worked out. Like the whole him being the fake psychologist thing, no one had to have ever have seen
That
it.
is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
So there are some things that I agree with that,
Mhm.
and there I would have to rewatch it and look at that specifically, like watch his plan
Yeah.
exactly. I think that maybe some of what you're saying might be too nitpicky, but I would have to watch it again. And I think he's a real good planner. But there might be I have to go back and watch it again. But I love Civil War.
I love the idea of it. Like and you know the fact that he's just a normal dude, like those kind of concepts and all the stuff, man. Yeah, I like all those kind of things. I really really liked about Civil War. It's just there are some unfortunate.
So
little
Spider-Man is my
nitpicky
favorite
things.
superhero. And
Yeah.
I want to be able to say that Spider-Man is my favorite superhero movie, but I don't think I can.
Homecoming is really strong.
I don't like
It just has a lot of Tony Stark in it.
Is that enough? It's enough for me.
To say it's not.
It's
your
not my
favorite.
favorite superhero movie for me.
What about Spider-Man 2? That's often regarded, especially like late Avengers movies, to be like this, maybe in contender to be also the best superhero
Yeah,
movie.
I like it, but I don't think it's my favorite.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I wish I could say it's a Spider-Man movie, but I don't think it is. Into the Spider-Verse, fantastic, but I'm not counting that because I'm just lumping that into animation. It does fall in both categories, but since I talked about that in animation, I'm not talking about it here.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of Far From Home that had to do with Mysterio. Mysterio is such a cool villain, and I remember playing a Spider-Man video game and going through some crazy stuff with Mysterio.
Yeah, but
and
talk
being
about
super
some
weird.
problems, man. This
And
Far From Home's got issues.
Bro, but the visuals, it's what I love parts in superhero movies specifically because I'm so nerdy and geeky about those that like when it legitimately
Such a
makes
nerd.
me like smile from ear to ear because like it's pulling exactly what I wanted to see and pulling those emotions and seeing like the visuals that they did for Mysterio and the way they implemented that into real life as far as like, you know, using projections and all that stuff. I just really like some of those. But there's issues. There's some issues with that movie.
So I think I agree. Shazam? Favorite?
No. I know you had a change of heart the second time you saw it. I liked it the first time I saw it. I haven't seen
I
it
did too.
twice.
Yeah, the second time wasn't as fun, unfortunately. Much more by the numbers than I remember it being. But
I think I might have to say Endgame is up there, but Endgame is up there because of what I've seen previously. It would not be the same if I hadn't seen the rest.
does the
But
does Tony Stark just kind of falling on time travel? Does that not bother you at all?
a little bit, but not as much as it bothers other people.
Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
that was there was nothing that was going to keep me, pretty much nothing. That was going to keep me from enjoying myself in that movie.
Yeah.
But I've seen it several times now after the fact, and that's one of the things that just like it's just so yada yada. It's hard to ignore.
I know people have an issue with
yeah.
it. The idea is that he'd been working on it at least all night. It's a night. It's time travel. That's still ridiculous. I understand that.
Think about how
Here's
much.
the way, again, I look at, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, but it's because it's like that's one issue. I can overlook it because I just kind of go, and I know that maybe I shouldn't, but I just kind of go, he wanted to try it this way. He whatever science stuff that doesn't even make sense because it's not real. He inverts the flux, the doo-doo,
flux capacitor,
and then he's like, try it one more time inverted, and that'll be it. Then I'm going to bed. It works. Things sometimes work out quicker than you expect them to. This is time travel.
That's pretty.
I understand. I am not mad at you for understanding.
Well-
but the fact that I can just go, okay, cool, whatever, and continue to enjoy it, I did, and I will when I watch. I like that movie
I mean,
a lot.
there's so many things that are fun about that movie, but yeah, that's that. I mean, just to bring up one, because we can't go all into detail about all the problems with it, but that's a pretty glaring one, especially when you look at Ultron. Of Age of Ultron, they have like a whole montage of just building him, which I feel like is probably a lot simpler of a process than figuring out fucking time travel. But
Yep.
I mean, it's a superhero movie. You can't really judge it at the same. We're really just
We
we're
can,
talking about.
but-
I mean, you
but
can.
my
and we
favorite,
have.
I'm
and
gonna
probably
pick,
will.
and this could change. I have a few that are very, very close, but Civil War is probably my pick because it does still have Spider-Man, and it has him in a way that I like. For his introduction, it's fantastic, and it has everybody else, like the people that I really care about, fighting in ways that we hadn't seen before, and even to this day, that are just—it's so cool. I love it. I love
Mine's
the concept.
Suicide Squad.
All right, cool. Next, Civil War. Are you saying Civil War too? Are we in agreement on our favorite
we
superhero
are
movie?
in agreement
That's crazy,
right now.
bro.
It is nuts. I do like Civil War a lot, and I can't think of anything better at the second.
Do you have a second? Mine probably Endgame, and yours might be Infinity War.
I probably would throw Dark Knight in there.
As far as just a fun movie,
I have seen those. I've seen the like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and I've seen The Dark Knight Rises a lot too. I like The Dark Knight Rises probably more than most people do. But I watch them all the time. But it's funny because
Bane
like
impression go.
fuck, it's gonna be bad. I don't want to do it. No.
Yeah.
I was only born born in the dark.
Only no, it's
Oh, you were only born in
darkness.
Yeah.
I was born in it.
Let's focus on making it good.
What? Oh, as far as just a fun movie though, I really liked Far From Home for a fun movie.
Yeah, that one does not hold up to scrutiny.
It's fun, bro.
It was fun. I had fun when I watched it in theaters, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of fluff in that movie when you go back to it. It's just like why am I watching?
I hate
like
that the more I think about it, I just I hate it because I like Spider-Man.
I know, but the glasses,
Give me Spider-Man.
glasses are kind of fucking stupid.
Okay. I'm sorry. I gotta say something, and then we can move on. We're gonna talk about MCU more and more because I want to do just an episode all on it.
Yeah.
Why can't they portray Peter Parker as smarter, bro?
He's a dummy dumb. He's not dumb. He's just not special in his intelligence by any means.
His thing is
I don't
like
think
being a
they've ever showed
relatable,
him
everyday kind of high
Super
schooler.
genius.
No, but even just high schooler. They go, oh, but I mean, he's smart. Yeah. No. Dude, this kid is smart. He makes his own web fluid. He makes his own like super suit design. Like in the first movie, he's like, I want to take the safety mode off of my suit.
Ned does it.
Well, you do it. You're smart. They'll go, please do this really smart thing for me. You're a smart dude.
The only reason he gets out of the
Whatever.
bunker in Washington that he's stuck in is because of the suit.
He does a whole bunch of combinations over and over and over all night till it works.
Oh yeah, I guess that's right. In fact, he has a little graphing calculator out. That's right.
Ooh, graphing calculator. I had that when I was in high school, okay? And I'm a dummy dumb. Okay. I guess we'll move on to our last, which is drama. I have mine.
Go for it, man.
No, you go first. I've been gone first.
Yeah, because I go second.
First is the worst, second is the best. So I won't go second.
But I'm not ready.
Are you not?
No, I think I Googled drama movies.
Oh, my. Why are you on this podcast? You don't even know
Why
your
am I on this
movies.
podcast? I've seen movies.
You don't even know your movies.
I don't know my movies.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Guess it, dude.
Schindler's List.
Whiplash.
Oh. Well, if we're going to go by 2014 logic, I have to say Birdman.
Don't have to go by 2014 logic. I'm going by all logic.
I know. No, Whiplash is great. When was the last time you saw Whiplash?
That's a good question. It's been a couple years, I guess now. I need to go back and watch it again. But I've seen it a few times, and the acting is amazing. The emotions. It's just raw. It's real. Yeah. Guys, I'm tired. How long has this podcast been going on? I thought I was going to fall asleep at the beginning.
Long time.
If you haven't seen Whiplash, I'm not going to talk a lot about it. All I'm going to say is Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons, acting their hearts out. Very, 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 very intense. Emotionally. And
I never saw him in a tent one time.
You should go watch it. What do you got for me?
I really, really liked American Beauty. Of course you haven't. Which it's a shame because now Kevin Spacey is
illegal.
Kevin Spacey. Yeah, he's illegal.
He's illegal.
So it's a little weird to watch now, I'll be honest, but it's fantastic.
It's
Fantastic if you ask me. Jesus. I always hate doing favorite stuff because it changes all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why we talk about it now. We can talk about it again later. You don't have to your opinions can change. And if anyone listening to this right now
thinks we're dummy dumbs because we like
take something that I say in one of these episodes
as the truth,
and then 50, 100, 200 episodes later, they're like, oh, but you didn't say that in episode 56, minute 32 and 27 seconds.
First of all, thank you for being such a great fan. Because holy shit,
if you do that, I love you, but I hate you. Opinions change.
If you did that, you definitely give into our eventual Patreon. I can tell you. No, but yeah. Jesus, I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound like such a fucking
this has
idiot.
gone way too
I know.
long.
We're not supposed to talk this long and not without stopping.
The thing is, we stopped.
We're stopping too much. Yeah. You know what? American Beauty is my favorite movie ever. Fuck it. Whatever.
You're done, dude.
I don't care.
Tapping out.
That's learning about the boys. We don't give a shit. That's what you've learned.
But what I will tell you on this final parting note to all of you out there, what you really need to know about us, probably the most important thing, is that at the end of the day, we make what matters work.
That's movies, brother. I really thought you were going to say it, but fuck it, whatever. 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 But fuck